What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty. Join my Discord if you want to chat and share your thoughts, the link is in the description. 13 BR Chapter 501 Scent of Warning, Gods and Legends. Nympha Frog Change Technique. Roar. With a slight sound, the scarred man was instantly covered by a cloud of white mist. At this moment, the 8-character Who man's heart is extremely ambitious. He didn't know if Jiraiya was frightening him, he couldn't tell at the moment anymore. Just when he still had a hint of fortune in his heart, a voice utterly defeated him. Qua. Needless to say, this is the voice of a frog. At this time, the 8-character Who man stared at the dissipated white mist, and then a frog that was only the size of a palm came into his eyes. At this moment, his face is full of horror. It turns out that what Jiraiya said is true. He really has the secret technique to turn people into frogs. Despite this, he still did not forget to fight for the injustices for his companions. Hole. You are so mean, hey. Jiraiya showed a playful look, looked at the Who man with 8 characters and slowly stretched out his hand towards him. Now it is your turn. The horror Who was terrified when he saw it, and he couldn't help but leave big beads of sweat on his cheeks. Obviously, he didn't want to become a frog like his companions. So, it can only be really fragrant. Before Jiraiya's big hand touched his forehead, he finally relaxed. As far as I know, Lord Pain lives in the tallest tower in the west. Advertisement. Hearing the words of the 8-character Who man, Jiraiya's face suddenly showed a contemptuous smile. Previously, I vowed to say that I would not betray the village and Lord Pain. In a blink of an eye I became a traitor. Hey, you guys. Tell me more specifically about Pain. Now that he has spoken, the 8-character Who at this time is no longer stubborn. To be honest, no one knows about Lord Pain. How do I say this? It is rumored that he inherited the blood of the mysterious family, but he has never seen his appearance. There are even rumors that he is just a fiction, and in fact it does not exist at all. Jiraiya's eyes narrowed slightly when he heard the words of the 8-character Who man. I just wandered around here a few times, and everyone was talking about Pain. Don't you want to lie to me? I heard these. I don't know it. 8-character Who responded and hurriedly explained. Here, Pain is equivalent to a god. It doesn't matter whether he exists or not. The key is that we have been guarded by this name. Furthermore, when various activities such as sacrificial offerings, speeches, and issuing orders in the village are held, agents are present. Hearing this, Jiraiya frowned slightly and continued to ask. Isn't he your leader? Why hide your identity from your own people? I don't know the specifics, but it is said to avoid letting the remnants of the old Rain Shinobi village take advantage of the remnants of the party. The 8-character Who man is true, and this is indeed one of the reasons why he did it. Because the former Rain Shinobi village was led by Hanzo of the Salamander. But this is not the main thing. The main reason is that he doesn't want others to know his true face, because the current Nagato can no longer act. There is also a certain reason why you don't use Yahiko and other Pain to show up, because everything he planned is still in progress. For flowers. Advertisement. Therefore, you can't let your identity be exposed prematurely. Seeing Jiraiya lost in thought, the 8-character Who man asked again. Who are you? Is it the remnant party of the old Rain Shinobi village? It doesn't matter who I am, and you don't need to know. Jiraiya responded and continued to ask. Now what you need to tell me is old Rain Shinobi village remnant party, what is going on? Hey, it seems you don't know anything. Are you from another country? The 8-character Who man in the words has probably judged the fact that Jiraiya does not belong to them, Rainland. No nonsense, don't talk. After being screamed by Jiraiya, the 8-character Beard obediently said the truth. Not long ago, the remnants of the party even sneaked into here to try to assassinate Lord Pain. However, don't worry about it now. If you want to sneak into the village, only a foreigner like you can have such good luck to be let in. Hearing what the 8-character Who man said, Jiraiya immediately expressed his doubts. Do not worry. What is going on? I heard that your country is fighting a civil war? You don't know it is excusable, because our country is very close. 8-character Who responded and said slowly and randomly. To tell you the truth, the civil war is over long ago. Moreover, we won. So Master Pain became a legend, because he defeated old Rain Shinobi village by himself. Chapter 502 Hanzo of the Salamander. Demigods and Gods. Master Pain became a legend, because he defeated old Rain Shinobi village by himself. Hearing the words of the 8-character Who man, Jiraiya finally showed a look of shock on her face. Because he knew that the one who commanded Rain Shinobi village was Hanzo of the Salamander, and the latter was the man in the ninja world. Moreover, it is also known as a demigod. He, Orochimaru, and Tsunade once fought Hanzo in the Second World War of Ninja, and they were defeated by the latter. Although the Jiraiya trio were only young men, the combat power of 673 was not as strong as it is now, but they all reached the level of the elite Jonin. But even so, Hanzo still can't beat Hanzo. This shows that the latter's strength is strong. According to strength speculation, Hanzo at his peak has at least cage level strength. In coordination with his and the invulnerable toxins, his strength can be regarded as a relatively strong presence in cage level categories. From the local battle, Hanzo won, but from the overall situation, Konoha won. That's why he didn't hurt the killer, but gave the 3 Jiraiya the title of Konoha Sannin. It seems to persuade people with morality, but in fact, it gives oneself a step down. However, his strength is indeed beyond doubt. Jiraiya knew this well, so there was still an incredible color on his face at this moment. Such a man of the character will be defeated by pain, which is enough to prove that the novice leader of Rain Shinobi Village is definitely not a simple character. Advertisement certainly. Part of the reason for this is because Hanzo's age is already high and his strength is no longer at the peak level of the year. Hanzo and Jiraiya were already middle-aged during the First World War. He was a figure in the same period as Third Hokage. Third Hokage, Orochimaru, was killed by Orochimaru because of the shrinking of the battle due to old age. But then again, even if Hanzo is still at his peak, he is no longer Master Rinnegan's Nagato opponent. It is precisely because Nagato killed the demigod, Hanzo, that he became a true god in the eyes of everyone in Rain Shinobi Village. Thoughts flashed in his mind, and Jiraiya muttered to himself. How strong is Pen? Unbelievable, he was able to single-handedly defeat the Hanzo of the Salamander that no one knows in the ninja world. So, I said this is a miracle, the 8-character Human said proudly, and then said, Hanzo also knows about Pen's strength, because he is very alert. At the time, it was extremely difficult to get close to him. He has shift guards around him 24 hours a day, and visitors, whether old or weak, women and children, have to undergo a full body examination. But even so, he died in the hands of Lord Pain in the end. Jiraiya is not interested in the words of the 8-character Human. What he wants to know most now is how Hanzo died. Tell me, how did Hanzo die? Advertisement. This is Master Pain's Philosophy 3.3. It is a sanction that makes everything vanish, God's sanction. Not only that, those who have contact with Hanzo can't escape the magic hall. The 8-character Human let out a low growl, but when he saw the look on Jiraiya's face, he quickly added. It is said that I am the lowest ninja in the village, how could I know these specific details? Needless to say, they are the remaining 5 pens. After the words of the 8-character Human fell. Boom. On 5 of the beds were people wearing black and red cloud robes, and none of them had the slightest vitality. However, it is said that Master Pain is a terrible technique. There are rumors that if you see it, you will die. After Hanzo's death, none of his parents, wives, children, compatriots, relatives and friends were spared, and all were brutally murdered. It's the kind of uneasy elements that threaten his ideals will be completely destroyed by him. What do you mean? Jiraiya asked, puzzled. Also, what is Pen's ability? The moment Shimon was opened, 6 special beds came into view. But this is not the most terrifying thing about Lord Pain. The most terrifying thing is his merciless, cruel heart. Chapter 503 Animal Dao, Toad Yin. The Key to the Seal. Rain Shinobi Village, Tower. In the cold room, Tiandao Pain slowly lay on the empty bed under Nagato's control. At the moment when Tiandao Pain's eyes closed, a pair of eyes suddenly opened on the other bed. This is the Beast Path. In Pen's 6 paths, the male beast was originally a ninja of the Wind Demon clan. He had fought with Jiraiya before his death, but Jiraiya slashed a wound on his forehead with kunai and ran away in a hurry. After his death, he was made into a beast rode by Nagato. That's why the man with 8-character Who said that Pain was a guy with a mysterious bloodline, and he was talking about this brute way. Undoubtedly, Nagato did not want to use the power of Heavenly Way Pen in this move. At the same time, in the esophagus of 26 Toad, Jiraiya continued to torture. Let's talk about it. What on earth do you so-called Master Pain want to do? Master Pain is a god, and all he wants to do are miracles. How could I have expected such a thing? The 8-character Who man Kaido tremblingly. That's it. You don't know his information, so you know about the organization of Shao at all. After the 8-character Who man heard the name of the organization, his expression was taken aback, and then he whispered. What is that? I don't know. You want to lie to me, you are still a little tender. Jiraiya sneered and said slowly, your body is tied to this stomach wall, and I can sense your heartbeat speed in this way. Simply put, as long as you lie, I will know. Advertisement. So, I advise you to recruit quickly. Otherwise, you will eat dragonflies and flies for the rest of your life. In the words, Jiraiya seemed to have a deep glance at the frog on the ground. It was his companion, Scar Youth. Frogs are good, whatever you want. Anyway, I will never confide a word to you again, and the low-level ninjas are spineless. Seeing that the man with 8 characters who was so intimidated by himself was still indifferent, Jiraiya didn't have much interest. In other words, it was his who felt the forbearance of a ninja. Forget it, it's not in my nature to torture this kind of thing anyway. I'll just go and talk to your god, but you have to stay here for the time being. When the voice fell, Jiraiya left the space of the esophagus and stomach directly. Immediately afterwards, Jiraiya quickly formed seals and directly vomited Toad Yin. Yes, just spit it out. Toad Yin, also called Scroll Toad, carries the key of the 8-sign seal in Naruto on its body. After Toad Yin appeared, he reluctantly said, Jiraiya. Why did you call me out again? Naruto's key. Already, Toad Yin was interrupted by Jiraiya before he finished speaking. No, it's not a matter of practice. This time I have something personal to deal with, so I will ask you to come out first. Advertisement, come out first. Toad Yin muttered, and then asked, what the hell is going on? Looking at it, Jiraiya has no extra nonsense. If something happens to me, you will be attached to Naruto. Thank you for reading this story at fictionzone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. It shouldn't be long. Hey, can't it be me if it's so powerful without me? I saw him emerge Chakra's 5 fingers directly on the pattern. The next second, the above rune pattern has a subtle change. After speaking, Jiraiya groaned for a while, then spoke again. Even if he is dead, as long as Toad finds Naruto or anyone can use Naruto's ki. Alright, immediately afterwards. Between the words, Jiraiya stood up, and Toad Yin also re-rolled the scroll and asked. How long will it take? In this way, I want to fight with a very good guy. He directly opened the scroll on Toad Yin, which was a densely packed 680 patterns and characters. Jiraiya didn't care about Toad's ridicule, he was obviously used to it. Needless to say, the above thing is Naruto's ki. This is the seal he unlocked, Naruto's ki, Chapter 504 Nine Tails Monster Fox, 8-sign seal. If something happens to me, you will be attached to Naruto. Hearing what Jiraiya said, Toad was anxious. What the hell are you doing? Once the rune on my stomach is combined with the 8-sign seal on Naruto, the seal will be completely lifted. The seal of 4th Hokage is getting weaker year by year, so I left this key and sealed it again at a critical juncture. Now you actually want to put such an important key together with the cage, isn't this what it means to die? Hearing that, Jiraiya didn't have much emotional change on his face, so he said calmly. This key was left by Minato, and it will be given to Naruto sooner or later. That being said, it's still too early. The last time I was instigated by you, I just opened the seal of the 4 elephants. A little bit with the key, but you haven't forgotten the result. Naturally did not forget. Between the words, Jiraiya showed a reminiscence look on his face, and subconsciously touched his chest. Where is there a very big scar, which was left when he forcibly helped Naruto untie the seal. Therefore, he naturally knows the consequences of lifting the seal. Although Naruto had reached an agreement with Nine Tails with the help of Shiyu at that time, Jiraiya knew that the power was only temporary. Advertisement moreover, Naruto has only 12 chances to use the power of Nine Tails. Therefore, he wanted to try whether Naruto could fully control the power of Nine Tails. So he made a bold attempt, but the result was undoubtedly a failure. Naruto completely lost consciousness after entering the Four-Tails state, and he was also hit hard at that time. This is undoubtedly a profound lesson, which is why Toad Yin will react strongly at this moment. As Minato's master, I know him well, since he has entrusted me with the key and technique to release the seal. He naturally hopes that one day in the future I can help Naruto master with the kind of power. Hearing Jiraiya's words, Toad was lost in thought. After a few seconds, it spoke again. By the way, does Naruto really need that kind of power? Moreover, he is currently extremely reluctant to use Three-Tails state, not to mention there are 6 levels behind. Once Naruto's seal is completely opened, I am afraid that he will be directly controlled by the spirit of Nine Tails. This is undoubtedly contrary to the last wish of 4th generation. This point, Minato has already considered it. Jiraiya responded and continued. That's why he used half of the power of Nine Tails to, the ghouls are sealed. Moreover, it's the yin part dominated by spiritual power. Advertisement, yang. Part of the power is dominated by the flesh, which is easier to control. This is the original intention of Minato to seal half of the power of Nine Tails. Also, do you know why 4th generation specially sealed Nine Tails chakra into your child's body? Toad Yin was taken aback for a moment, and then said, because it was just right for the seal at that time, or else I wanted to leave the strong power to the children's parents. It's definitely not like this. Jiraiya directly denied Toad's opinion, and then said, I know Minato's personality well. He never does meaningless things. My guess is that Minato probably knows something important, and if you want to stop it, you must be powerful from the master. For this, he sealed the power of Nine Tails into Naruto's body. Hearing what Jiraiya said, Toad couldn't help turning a Byakugan. You think there is too much of the king's money? I hope so too. Jiraiya asked back and then said, but have you ever thought about it? Was the attack on Konoha by the Nine Tails monster 16 years ago really just a natural disaster? Recently I have become more and more suspicious that this matter is not easy. You need to know that with Uzumaki Kushina's powerful sealing technique and Minato's personal guardianship, is it really that easy for the sealed Nine Tails to break free from it? If I guessed it correctly, it should have been artificially summoned. Chapter 505 See the World Toad, Past Master and Apprentice. If I guessed it correctly, it should have been artificially summoned. Hearing Jiraiya's words, Toad couldn't help but vomit. Idiot. As we all know, Nine Tails is a natural disaster formed by the condensation of human hostility. Besides, how could anyone in this world be able to summon Nine Tails? Yes, Konoha used to have one. Toad Yin gave a stunned voice, and asked curiously, who is it? The founder of the Uchiha family, Uchiha Madara. Crack Toad Yin called out several times, and then said, stupid. Uchiha Madara is the veteran when Konoha was founded. It is impossible to be alive 16 years ago. Indeed, everyone knows that Uchiha Madara was already defeated by first Hokage, in Valley of the End. But even so, I still have an ominous premonition in my heart. 680. Especially when I came into contact with Shao, this premonition in my heart became stronger. After a short conversation, Jiraiya also has no time to chat about these speculations with Toad Yin. As for the truth, he thought that maybe he could find the answer behind this mysterious organization named Shao. Immediately afterwards, Jiraiya got out of the space in the belly of the toad and returned to the real world. This toad that claims to be a small world in this body is called open black lens bracket me said toad close black lens bracket. Advertisement but. Jiraiya is not the only one who has returned to the real world, but another is the horrendous man who was previously tortured by Jiraiya. Although there were 2 people who came out, CGDD, there was only one Who-Man here at the moment, but Jiraiya was not seen. This is because Jiraiya used Toad Plane shadow manipulation to hide in the shadow of the 8-character Who-Man. After everything was ready, Jiraiya said to the toad, "You go back to Konoha. Go back to Ibiza." I told him it was okay. As an important member of Konoha's information department, Mori Milk Ibis is naturally going to tell the latter about everything he has discovered from here. After all, he doesn't know if he can go back alive. Gua, seeing the world toad screamed softly and disappeared immediately after submerged in the water. Upon seeing this, Jiraiya turned to look at the tallest building in Rain Shinobi village, the tower, and muttered to himself, "I hope I can deceive the enemy smoothly." When Jiraiya approached the tower, 2 figures stood at the top of the tower. Among them, Xiao Nan came back, and the other was Dao Pain, a beast. The floating paper completely condensed Xiao Nan's body, and the animal husbandry also asked, "How?" Xiao Nan was silent for a short while, and then uttered 4 words. "It's Jiraiya." Advertisement hearing that the beast's eyes were slightly stagnant, and the answer to this nod was obviously beyond his expectation. Beast Dao raised his head and looked towards the sky, and the scene of the past seemed to emerge in his mind. "It's Mr. Jiraiya, I really miss it." Hearing the animal muttering, Xiao Nan also asked, "Pain, what are you going to do next?" Of course he killed him. Pain's tone did not contain the slightest emotion, extremely cold. "I don't have any nostalgia for him now. Moreover, I use this body just to kill the intruder. Take me there." After listening to Pain's words, although Xiao Nan didn't want to, he still obeyed the former's meaning. After Yahiko's death, she was led by Ishin and Nagato. No matter the choice made by the latter is right or wrong, she will unreservedly support. This is the bond between them. Understood. 3 slightly helpless words were spit out from Xiao Nan's mouth, and then her body turned into countless papers again. She did not forget to say when she left, "Before you arrive, let me deal with him first." Although Xiao Nan's tone does not contain any emotions, in her opinion, this is undoubtedly the last sight of her and Jiraiya. This is not only a battle, but also a reminiscence of the past. Chapter 506 Angel, Oracle, Paper Dance. When Xiao Nan went to search for Jiraiya, the latter had already reached the first floor of the tower under the control of the 8-character Who-Man. And just as Jiraiya was about to move on, countless papers suddenly floated in front of him. In an instant, he directly wrapped the 8-character Who-Man. At this critical moment, Jiraiya directly relieved Toad Plane shadow manipulation. If not, he will definitely be temporarily controlled. And when Jiraiya's body broke away from the shadow of the 8-character Who-Man, it really looked like a flat person. Next second, Jiraiya's body swelled instantly, and then directly fought back. Fire-style Yanbo. As Jiraiya spit out a huge flame, the countless papers that floated was repulsed. Part of it was also burned a lot by the power of the flame, causing a lot of white smoke to rise. As the white smoke dissipated, countless papers also gathered. Immediately afterwards, a face also caught Jiraiya's eyes, and at first glance it made him feel a little familiar. "Is it Toad Plane shadow manipulation?" Jiraiya didn't answer Xiao Nan's words. It was undoubtedly equivalent to acquiescence, and said instead, "I was originally for the bait that was planted because of that guy named Pain, but I didn't expect you to get the bait. But having said that, your technique has improved a lot." Advertisement, and she has become a big beauty, Xiao Nan. When the last 2 words were spit out, Jiraiya not only spoke warmly, but also showed a smile on his face. The 2 looked at each other for a few seconds before Jiraiya spoke again. "I thought you were dead. I didn't expect that we would see each other one day." Jiraiya's words fell, and Xiao Nan didn't wait for Xiao Nan to speak, but the 8-character Who-Man who was kneeling on the ground was the first to exclaim, "Ah, you are His Royal Highness Angel." Hearing the words of the 8-character Who-Man, Jiraiya's eyes also condensed, and his heart shook inwardly. Angel? In other words, Xiao Nan is Pain's herald? Just when Jiraiya was thinking about whether the pen was Yahiko or Nagato, the horoscope Who-Man exclaimed again, "My envoy, he is an intruder, please kill him." Regarding the words of the 8-character Who-Man, Xiao Nan's face did not change at all, but only faintly spit out a few words. "You can stay away." For the people of Rain Shinobi village, although she has no feelings, she will not let it go if she can protect her. After all, it is not easy for Nagato to manage Rain Shinobi village up to now. She didn't want to ruin Nagato's years of efforts because of her indifference. Even if the possibility is very small, she would not let it happen. For flowers. Okay. Advertisement. The 8-character Who-Man who responded flew away immediately, for fear of being caught by Jiraiya again. "Teacher, this matter has nothing to do with you." Following the escape of the 8-character Who-Man, Jiraiya finally spoke. Thinking of the scene where his companion was turned into a frog, he was still panicking. Upon seeing this, Jiraiya also ridiculed. Jiraiya didn't stop him from leaving. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. 0 from a distance, it really looks like a descending angel. When the voice fell, Xiao Nan made countless papers and put a pair of wings on him. As soon as this remark came out, Xiao Nan also stopped talking nonsense. Open black lens bracket Shiji Wu paper rain close black lens bracket. I don't care about angels at all, I care about oracles. The oracle I received is, kill you, who is pain anyway. Big Eye saw his wings for a while, and countless papers were shot at Jiraiya like feathers. The latter is completely irrelevant to him. Now that his identity has been exposed, the life and death of the latter is no longer in his consideration. Thank you for reading this story at fictionzone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Xiao Nan, do you think you can become an angel like this? Chapter 507 The battle begins. Master-disciple battle. Secret art paper dance. Inject chakra into paper to control the paper for various tasks such as attack, defense, and reconnaissance. It can also be mixed with the detonating talisman to enhance the effect of the attack when attacking, which can adapt to various situations. At the same time, it can convert itself into paper at any time to achieve the purpose of immunity to physical attacks, but it needs to consume chakra at any time. Once chakra is exhausted, it will be unlocked. Of course, there are also some external interferences that will make the operator unable to paper. Paper rain, one of the applications of paper dance. In the state of paper dance, the two pairs of wings quickly shoot out countless pieces of paper, and the shot, 687, pieces of paper can also be quickly closed on the wings, with a looping effect. Shoo, 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 shoo. Jiraiya on the ground looked at the paper rain all over the sky with a certain expression. Although this technique is not very strong, the problem is extremely difficult to avoid. Once you are recruited, you will be hit continuously by the blade like paper, and injuries will be inevitable at that time. What? Jiraiya retreated a distance in an instant, in order to get a distance from the paper rain, so that he could have enough time to seal the seal. Secret technique, toad oil bomb. As a puff of viscous toad oil spit out from Jiraiya's mouth, the soaked paper rain instantly wilted. Da da da. Falling on the ground is accompanied by a faint sound, like raindrops. Even Xiao Nan himself didn't avoid it, most of the body was contaminated. Next second. Advertisement Jiraiya's white hair stretched out, and the goal was directed at Xiao Nan. Ninja felt binding. This is a kind of ninjutsu created by Jiraiya, which uses chakra's growing hair to restrain the enemy. In order to prevent toad oil from contaminating her pretty face, Xiao Nan used her hands to block her front door. But it also temporarily blocked his vision, and Jiraiya also seized this opportunity to restrain Xiao Nan. Originally, for this kind of ninjutsu, Xiao Nan could easily resolve it by relying on the ability of paper. But at this time she can't do it, and this scene was also completely in Jiraiya's master, and I saw him with a confident expression on his face. Your paper is stuck with oil, there is no way to attack it. After controlling Xiao Nan, Jiraiya's face showed a reminiscence of the past. You who like origami are the gentlest child among the three of you, how come you have become so unkind now? Where are the other two? I heard that they are dead, is that fake news? Facing Jiraiya's question, Xiao Nan's beautiful eyes drooped into silence. Because Yahiko is dead, although Nagato was alive, he lost the ability to move. The ending of the two, no matter which one she can't accept. If it weren't for Nagato to be alive, she wouldn't have persisted until now. The three of them have the fetters of struggling to survive during the war, and they have long been prepared to live and die together. Xiao Nan's silence is tantamount to acquiescence in Jiraiya's view. Sure enough, pain is one of them. After hearing Jiraiya's words, Xiao Nan finally spoke. Advertisement, what do you want to do when you appear before us now? I didn't want to be a member of Xiao, who asked you to do something wrong. Jiraiya's eyes became sharp between the words, and it was obvious that Xiao Nan and the others were involved in a relationship with Xiao. To be honest, you are not dead and we are happy. War is the result of disputes over interests between countries, and it should not involve the lives of innocent people. But what I didn't think was that you would become like this, almost beyond recognition. It's too late. At that time, not only did he not kill the three people, but he chose to teach them 3 ninjutsu, so that they have the possibility of surviving in this troubled world. If I do it again, I will still choose that way. But to support their Uchiha Obito, after all, countries were fighting at the time. You must be thinking now that you should listen to Orochimaru's opinion, and things won't turn into the way it is now. But the problem is that Jilai did not choose to do it. Xiao Nan, who heard the words, looked directly at Jiraiya and said slowly. Jiraiya did not hesitate, and said firmly 3.3. Thank you for reading this story at fictionzone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Because the three of them are people from Rain Kingdom, and their enemies, Fire Kingdom. The war is cruel, there is no emotion to speak of. Orochimaru's proposal also makes some sense. Xiao Nan's expression was stunned when he heard the words, and a long-lost touch could not help appearing in his heart, but the next second he disappeared into the invisible. When Jiraiya, Orochimaru, and Tsunade met Konan, Yahiko, and Nagato who were in trouble during the Second Ninja World War, Orochimaru suggested that they be killed directly. We have all started to act according to his thoughts. The he that Xiao Nan refers to here is neither Nagato nor Yahiko. Chapter 508 Lobster Summoning Beast. Chaos Lionhair Technique. The fighting stopped temporarily, and both Jiraiya and Xiao Nan fell into the memories of Zheng Jin. 20 years ago, the three of Xiao Nan met Konoha Hassanin by chance. In order to let the three of Xiao Nan have the ability to survive the war, Jiraiya stayed and looked after them for 3 years. Originally, he didn't intend to teach the 3-person ninjutsu, but after Yahiko almost died at Iwagakure Chunin, he changed his mind. The first is for the three of them to have the ability to protect themselves after they leave. The second is because he discovered that Nagato has Rinnegan. In his view, that is a pair of eyes that can change the world. As the Datoed Sage of Mount Myoboku told him, in the future 26, he will have an apprentice who will change the ninja world. Combining these 2 points, he decided to teach three-person ninjutsu. After some memories, Jiraiya said again, "After a few years of separation, I began to hear your names. I heard about your performance in several wars, but the good times didn't last long, and soon there was news of your fall. You don't even know what we experienced afterwards," Xiao Nan responded indifferently. "I really don't know, but what Xiao did is wrong." Jiraiya's voice fell, and before Xiao Nan could answer, another voice rang in his ears. "That's the conclusion we came up with ourselves, Mr. Jiraiya." Clatter. Advertisement. At the moment the sound fell, it was accompanied by a slight landing sound. Upon hearing this, Jiraiya's gaze followed, immediately afterwards. A young figure with long orange hair appeared in his field of vision, making his eyes condense slightly. After looking around, he muttered to himself, "The appearance has changed a lot, but I won't admit it wrong with those eyes. Sure enough, it's you, Nagato." Jiraiya looked at the tiny black sticks and the cold expression on Pain's face, and couldn't help asking. "Your growth seems abnormal, what's the matter?" Hearing that, Pain did not have the slightest emotional fluctuation on his face, as if standing in front of him was just an insignificant stranger, nothing more. "You don't need to know, you are an outsider after all." Upon hearing this, Jiraiya's expression also changed. Although he had a hunch that Nagato had changed a lot before, he didn't expect the latter to be more ruthless than Xiao Nan. This was completely beyond his expectation, because in his memory, Nagato was the weaker one of the three of them. How could he become like this now? The latter's cold look and tone can no longer overlap with Nagato in his impression. "Nagato, you have changed." For Jiraiya's surprise, Pain didn't talk nonsense. Advertisement, Xiao Nan, you retreat. At this moment, Xiao Nan also regained his freedom. This is a summoning beast used in water warfare. It uses double tongs to attack. Ninfa random lion hair technique. Xiao Nan, who heard the words, had no extra nonsense, and she regained her ability and flew directly to the side of the water pipe. Boom, boom, boom. Upon seeing this, Pain said, immediately afterwards. Seeing the lobster attacking him holding the pair of tongs, Jiraiya's eyes condensed, and his hands quickly became imprinted. As a white smoke dissipated, a huge lobster appeared in everyone's field of vision. Boom. Pain's attention all fell on Jiraiya's look, and he controlled the lobster to attack it. With the attack of 690 water polo foam, Jiraiya had to lift the felt bondage, and the toad oil on Xiao Nan's body was quickly washed away. Its target seems to be aimed at Jiraiya, but the actual mountain is to rescue Conan, who was restrained by Jiraiya. Open black lens bracket summoning technique. Close black lens bracket. After the lobster was called out, Beast Dao immediately controlled him to spray water polo bubbles. Chapter 509. The trio in trouble. Things are different. Ninfa random lion hair technique. This ninjutsu, felt binding, and needle jizo are all created by Jiraiya, and they are all secret techniques that use hair as an attack or defense. Next second, Jiraiya's white hair grew crazily at a speed visible to the naked eye, and then directly entangled the entire lobster. This secret technique is so powerful that it makes it completely immobile. That lobster summoning beast roared because of this, trying to break free from Jiraiya's restraint. In this regard, Jiraiya obviously will not give it a chance. As the chakra on his body suddenly surged, the white hair that had bound the lobster instantly tightened. Moreover, the strength is constantly increasing. If it continues like this, the lobster must be cut into countless sections abruptly by this open black lens bracket random lion hair technique. Close black lens bracket. Next second, the lobster was finally overwhelmed, turned into a cloud of white smoke and returned to its summoning world. For this scene, Pain's expression remained unchanged. How strong is Jiraiya? He is not very clear, but the latter Kona Hasanin's name is not for nothing, so it is undoubtedly more than enough to deal with the summoning beast. Advertisement. It's just that he didn't expect this process to be so fast. Needless to say, he still underestimated Jiraiya. In other words, the current Jiraiya is stronger than it was in the past. Just as Pain was a little bit astonished, a cloud of lion-like white hair suddenly shot out from the cloud of white smoke that had disappeared from the lobster. Rao was Pain, and he didn't react at the first time. Utilizing all available things to fight, to be unexpectedly attacking the unprepared, this is Jiraiya's old combat experience. After binding the beast Dao Pen, Jiraiya spoke again. Nagato, I want to ask you something. Yahiko, what happened to him? From the moment of meeting, Jiraiya found that Xiaonan and Nagato were too cold. Especially the latter, like an ice cellar. He vaguely remembered that the original idea of Nagato was to protect Yahiko and Xiaonan. But now it has become so unfamiliar, unlike the two of them back then. Now he and Xiaonan both appeared, but Yahiko was missing, which made him feel a bad premonition. However, he didn't want to believe it until he got the exact answer. Hearing Jiraiya's questioning, whether it was Nagato or Xiaonan, their expressions were all a little bit. Xiaonan remained silent, while Nagato, who controlled Pen, spoke. Advertisement, yes, there was such a person once. Nothing, because the latter is his student, the student he once thought could change the ninja world. Thank you for reading this story at fictionzone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. This change of Nagato is more difficult for him to accept than the fact that he killed Hanzo of the Salamander. Nagato, you? Jiraiya hesitated. He didn't expect Nagato to become so cold. The latter is like a puppet without emotions. What's the matter with you, the previous you? Jiraiya didn't seem far to believe in the already certain Zhao's facts in his heart, and once again questioned the Tao system. Many people die, I will grow more. These words of pain made Jiraiya's heart roar with anger. As for Nagato, who was hiding in the depths of the tower, what is his look at this moment, but no one knows. At that time, both words and thoughts will grow up. Even ignorant and stupid children, as long as they feel hurt, they will slowly grow into a person. What's the meaning? This is indeed the case, and Pain in front of him is a puppet. Pain responded indifferently, and then said, it's just going through some unforgettable battles. However, that guy is already dead. Chapter 510 Make the World Hurt, the mission of becoming a god. Even ignorant and stupid children, as long as they feel hurt, they will slowly grow into a person. At that time, both words and thoughts will grow up. Hearing what Nagato said, Jiraiya asked immediately. So, do you think that abandoning the thoughts of friends is growth? Teacher, you are still alone, but after I felt infinite pain, I grew up again. After Nagato's words made Jiraiya feel inexplicable, he asked meaningfully. What do you want to say? I mean, I have changed from a man to a god. Upon hearing this, Jiraiya's expression condensed, and he looked at the beast Tao Pain in disbelief, and the latter continued to speak. As long as a person becomes a god, both words and thoughts will grow. Teacher, you are still alone, so you don't understand what I'm talking about as normal 700. After a long silence, Jiraiya finally responded with a word. Unexpectedly, your thoughts would turn out to be like this? Teacher, this is my transformation. When I became a god, I could see clearly the things that I couldn't see and understand when I was a human being. Moreover, God can do what man can't do, advertisement. The simpler thing to say is that I have evolved, from a human to a god. In Jiraiya's eyes, Nagato's remarks were completely self-deceiving, even nonsense. What on earth do you want to do? I want to put an end to this war-ridden world. This is what God can do. Since this is your purpose, why do you collect tailed beasts? Anyway, you are going to die, I will tell you the real purpose. After speaking, Nagato looked at Jiraiya who was surprised, and continued, because we want to use tailed beast to develop a new forbidden technique. That is the ultimate forbidden technique. As long as you use that forbidden technique, you can destroy a big country in an instant. After hearing this, Jiraiya also expressed his doubts after some consternation. You created this terrible forbidden technique that can destroy a big country, how do you calm the world's wars? Stop killing by killing, this method will only expand the chaos of war. Mr. Jiraiya, what do you think should be done to quickly stop the warring countries? In response to Nagato's rhetorical question, Jiraiya drank it directly. I'm asking you questions, answer me quickly. Hearing that, Pain still didn't have the slightest mood swing on his face, but he still, CGDD, answered Jiraiya's question. In my opinion, only the forbidden technique that we created with Tailed Beast can be handed over to the countries that are at war with each other. Is this your mission? Advertisement Nagato affirmed and explained, because I am a pacifist god. So this world needs to grow, just like me before. Yes. What do you mean? Nagato's thoughts that Jiraiya didn't understand at all. At that time, people, countries, and the world will be moved and hurt by this. In his view, the latter's thinking has gone beyond the category of normal people. In order to let the world grow, so we have to hurt everyone? Thank you for reading this story at fictionzone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. After all, the world is still a child who hasn't grown up. In this way, the chaos of war will also disappear. Hundreds of millions of people die in an instant, and people will feel terrified. This kind of terrifying thought will give birth to a stronger force in the world, a force that can stop this forbidden technique. And what I have to do is to let the world continue to grow, think, and move forward. This is what I should do as a god. On the contrary, it is full of denials. After hearing Nagato's words, Jiraiya didn't show any signs of identification. No matter who gets this forbidden technique, they will use it. The world is currently developing towards stability, but there will be inevitable wars in the future. Chapter 511 Summoning Beast Contest, Chameleon vs. Toujien. Because I am a pacifist god, after hearing Nagato's words, Jiraiya couldn't help but sneered. Nagato, you have become very good, just kidding. At this moment, Jiraiya knows that it is useless to say more. All he can do now is to subdue Nagato. Even kill, of course, the latter is helpless choice. After all, Nagato is still his student, and he won't be murderous unless it is a last resort. Because he is not as emotional as Nagato, of course, the premise of all this is that he can beat Nagato, which Jiraiya does not know in his heart. Even though Hanzo of the Salamander was very old before he died, the latter is a cage-level powerhouse after all. The poison contained in his body is hard to defend against, which shows how difficult it is to defeat him. Not to mention beheading it, and since Nagato did this, it was enough to prove that his current strength has reached an incredible level. Therefore, Jiraiya is extremely cautious at this moment. At this point, he started the second stage of the random lion hair technique, once again. I saw that the hair that restrained Pain was tightened again. Due to the excessive strength, long hairs appeared like spikes. At that moment, there was a sizzle, however. When the animal life was compressed by Jiraiya's ninjutsu, there was no panic on his face. There are two reasons. Advertisement first, this is just a puppet manipulated by Chakra. Second, he has the ability to break free, as predicted. In the next instant, Pen, who was originally bound by Jiraiya, instantly turned into a piece of wood. Undoubtedly, that is open black lens bracket body replacement technique close black lens bracket. This kind of D-level ninjutsu is basically a ninja, but it is a question of whether it can be used reasonably. Because some ninjas were killed by their opponents without even having a chance to use this ninjutsu. The basic situations in which this result occurs. The first is that the opponent is too strong to give you a chance to react. The second is that my own strength is too weak, and the master of the body replacement technique is not proficient, so that it is too late to react. The third is a sneak attack. If it is not discovered or fortified in advance, there is basically no chance to react. At this time, the beast Dao appeared in another direction, calling out to Jiraiya, who was shocked. "Teacher, I am here." Pain's tone was calm and unhurried, and he didn't feel the slightest pressure because the other party was Jiraiya. Not only that, but he performed summoning again, and this time, it was not the previous lobster that was summoned, but a chameleon. This kind of summoning beast for assassination battles can be invisible. For flowers. At this moment, Pain, who was standing on the chameleon's head, even spoke highly. "Mr. Jiraiya, you are nothing but a small person who cannot grow in my eyes." Advertisement, because you have reached your limit, you can no longer grow. Ha 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 ha. Jiraiya laughed loudly and said in a deep voice, "I didn't expect that I would be treated as a kid by a kid. But then again. Point 0. Now I am not the Sannin I used to be, but a fairy. Toad Sage of Mount Myoboku, Lord Jiraiya, Moon." Jiraiya between the words also used summoning. He summoned Toad Ken, one of Mount Myoboku's 3 fighting toads. Seeing this scene, Pain sighed. "You really haven't grown, you are still as stupid as before." The posing Jiraiya was swayed by Toad Jien's appearance, and suddenly lost his center of gravity, and couldn't help but vomit. "Hey, Toad Healthy, I'm being handsome, don't shake me." However, Jien's answer left Jiraiya speechless. "I'm relatively useless, you understand." He was accustomed to Toad Jien's simple answer. The latter's character is like this, which is totally different from Toad Wentai. Since then, the battle between the two beasts has officially begun. Chapter 512 Fairy Status. Hellhound is online. Looking at Pain on the battle chameleon, Jiraiya said solemnly. "There is no temptation to deal with him at all, you must fight with all your strength from the beginning." Jiraiya, the man who can turn Hanzo of the Salamander on a single bridge, will naturally not be underestimated, not to mention the latter also possesses Rinnegan. This is the end of my thought. Jiraiya bit her own finger and then drew blood marks on her face. There is no doubt that Jiraiya is about to enter open black lens bracket sage mode close black lens bracket. 73. But because he doesn't have the perfect master sage mode skills, someone must cooperate if he wants to continue to stay in sage mode. To be precise, 2 toads. Perceiving Jiraiya's intentions, Toad Ken also let out a stunned voice. "Jiraiya, don't you think, yes, I just want to summon 2 immortals." After responding to Toad Jien, Jiraiya said again, "So before I summon them, please help me buy time." "Understood, although I am useless, but I will work hard." Although Toad Jien said so, his combat effectiveness should not be underestimated. While Jiraiya was talking with Toad Jien, both Pain and the chameleon had disappeared. Advertisement to be precise, it should be invisible. Disappeared? Oops, where did he find that thing? The thing in Jiraiya's mouth is undoubtedly a chameleon, and the summoning beast's abilities are really special. Moreover, it is worth mentioning that ordinary people will only sign a summoning beast. Certainly. This is not to say that a ninja can only sign one type of summoning beast, but multiple types can be signed. Shi Yu's signing of the 3 holy sites is the best proof. The reason why most people only sign a summoning beast is because this thing is too difficult to tame. Especially for wild summoning beasts like this, it is even more difficult. Even the summoning beasts of the 3 holy sites need to be approved by the summoning beasts even if they sign the summoning blood pact with them. Otherwise, the latter will not listen to you at all. Since it has disappeared, then only enchantment tactics can be used. As Jiraiya's voice fell, his body was slightly lifted into the air, and his hands were still in the Ji in posture. No way. This is the seal of his summoning 2 great immortals, which cannot be interrupted before they are summoned. Since you can't use your hands, you can only use your feet. This can be said to be one of Jiraiya's powerful abilities. Advertisement as Jiraiya's feet merge, the sound of Muzan also sounded. Thank you for reading this story at fictionzone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Seeing the hell dog rushing towards him, Jiraiya murmured. Seeing this scene, Pain in Invisibility also murmured. This ability is too painful. Its ability is extremely strong, it can be a kind of summoning beast that can adapt to fighting in any place. It can be said that Pen has the strongest attacking power among the summoning beasts. Roar. I remember the kind of enchantment ninjutsu that will be detected by it as long as it enters the enchantment range. Immediately afterwards. The most important thing is that it will begin to clone itself after a powerful attack, and the number will increase. In this regard, Pain once again used the summoning technique. A ripple that cannot be noticed by the naked eye spreads around Jiraiya as the center, and continues to spread toward this space. With a roar, a wild dog with 3 heads suddenly appeared in Jiraiya's field of vision. 3.3 because the latter is difficult to beat, but this is not the most critical. Needless to say, this is one of Jiraiya's investigative methods. After he saw my enchantment, he switched to the stronger summoning beast. This is one of the pen summoning beasts, Hellhound. Snapped. Chapter 513. One after another, Archaeopteryx descends from the sky. Roar. Since Jiraiya can't face it, Toujien can only fight the Hellhound himself at this moment. Although he had blocked the Hellhound's pounce with a shield, the powerful force still smashed at several floors from the middle area of the tower. Boom. 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 In the end, it was because the toad grabbed a thick pipe with his big hands, which stopped his body. Hey, can't you do better? Even at this time, Jiraiya still doesn't forget to spit out, and is really an old naughty boy. However, Toujien's answer has always been the same. Because I am useless. After the words fell, Toujien finally began to counterattack. Boom. I saw it make a leap, and then the scepter in his hand was charged down. Bump. No accident, its attack fell on the Hellhound without any suspense. But the problem is that the Hellhound did not disappear due to the powerful 26 attack as they thought. Obviously the latter has outstanding attack power, and this defense is also quite strong. To this, Toujien and Jiraiya's eyes condensed. Next second, Toujien held the scepter high in his hand and attacked again. Boom. Bang. Bang. Boom. Although he had the upper hand in the battle, he struggled as he fought. Advertisement, but this is not what surprised Jiraiya. What surprised him was that the Hellhound was hitting more and more. As long as you hit it, the number will increase. Is that a dog that has been restrained by the strengthened summoning technique? At this moment, Jiraiya can only come up with this explanation. Because the general summoning beast will basically return to its original world when it is subjected to a fatal attack, it will not be like the 3 Hellhounds in front of them that not only did not disappear, but split and multiplied. Now he has 3 heads, but a dozen. It looks extremely fierce, terrifying, and daunting. Roar, sing, screaming, screaming. After a loud roar, the Hellhound attacked Jiraiya and Toad Ken again. Because it has more than a dozen heads, there are more than a dozen Hellhounds when it splits. It's scattered again. Bump, touch, touch, touch. Be careful, there are also on it. Although Jiraiya had given a warning, Toujien was unable to completely prevent the attack of a dozen Hellhounds after all. Ming. A cry of pain came out, and Toujien's body flew out directly. However, the attack did not end there. At the moment, above the sky, a huge summoning beast was swooping towards them. But this time it was not Hellhound who attacked them, but a new summoning beast. That is a bird, a cyclops. This bird is named Archaeopteryx, and it is also one of the summoning beasts of the animal life. This is a summoning beast specially used in air combat. It uses a sword-like mouth to attack the enemy. Not only that, he also has a strong tracking ability. Perceiving this attack, Jiraiya was very upset, because at this moment, his celestial summoning was still a bit short. Advertisement therefore, he naturally can't give up all his previous achievements. Because if he can't enter the fairy state, he is not sure to be Pen at all. At this moment, he could only rely on Toad for health, and the latter did not disappoint him. Although unable to borrow force in the air, Toujien directly raised the shield in his hand, and forcibly resisted the Archaeopteryx volley. Bump. With a bang, Toujien's huge body slammed into the ground like a falling meteorite. Boom. Rubble was splashing and smoke swept across. In an instant, this space was completely submerged. As the smoke slowly dissipated, Jiraiya's voice and shadow were also revealed, and there was nothing serious about him. However, Toad is healthy, but the injury is not light. And Jiraiya also took this opportunity to start thinking about countermeasures, thinking about 703 in his heart. The caster is hiding in the dark. It is obviously impossible to crack this technique by attacking him. He has so many summoning beasts, it seems that the previous chameleon just provided him with disguise. A total of 4 summoned before and after. I don't know if there will be any. But what makes me wonder is why he only uses summoning technique. Toujien, what do you think? To Jiraiya's question, Toujien answered the same. Useless, so I don't know what you are talking about. To Jien's answer, Jiraiya did not show any consternation on his face. It seemed that he had become accustomed to the former character. If I didn't guess wrong, Guy Nagato doesn't want to do it myself. After guessing what Nagato meant, Jiraiya glanced at the injured Toad Ken and said again. Toujien, you go back, just leave it to me. Chapter 514 Fairies appear. The Eye of 6 Paths. Toujien, you go back, just leave it to me. Hearing Jiraiya's words, Toujien replied weakly. Sorry. When the voice fell, he disappeared in this tower. Although he is a bit naive, he also knows that the injured himself will not be able to help Jiraiya anymore if he stays. Therefore, leaving is the best choice. At the moment when Toujien disappeared, the hell dog with a dozen heads pounced on Jiraiya at the same time. That speed is incredible, as if it has been gaining momentum for a long time. There is no doubt. This is because Beast Dao secretly controls the cooperation between several summoning beasts, so that the attacks of the two can be seamlessly connected. Boom. With a blast, Jiraiya was directly pushed into a wall by the hell dog. Immediately afterwards, there were several similar voices in succession. Boom. Boom. Obviously, Jiraiya flying upside down didn't just smash a wall. At this moment, Pain's eyes fixed on the wall that was smashed through. But it is a pity that the huge head of the Hellhound is still embedded in it, and they still can't know what happened to Jiraiya at this time. Just when Pain's thoughts just came into being, a loud noise rang in his ears again. Bump. Rubble was splattered and rocks pierced through the air. And the Hellhound, whose head was still stuck in the wall, also flew upside down at this moment, going straight away like a cannonball. Boom. 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 After hitting the ground, he didn't stop there, and the powerful remaining prestige made him roll a long distance above the ground. Advertisement taste. Nourish. Nourish. Several water pipes were smashed along the way, allowing water to flow out of them. Despair. Da. Da. At the moment when the stagnant water inside was flowing on the ground, an unfamiliar voice came from the deep invisible wall hole in front. Boy. Why do you only call us when you have to deal with troubles? No wonder Wen Tai will always be angry with you. My wife, don't say that. Jiraiya will do this, it is definitely his reason. Devil, you shut up. After hearing the two people quarrel, Jiraiya didn't feel the slightest discomfort. Obviously, he has become accustomed to it, and these two people are not normal people, they are Toad Sage of Mount Myoboku, Fukasaku and Shima. Boss, big sister, long time no see. It's really embarrassing to call you out at this time, but I do have a reason. After hearing Jiraiya's words, Immortal Jima spoke first. Boy, didn't you say that this state will make you unfavorable for women, so you don't want to become like this? Now is not the time to care about this kind of thing, because the other party has Rinnegan. When Jiraiya said this, both Shima and Shensaku were shocked. Oh, the Eyes of Six Paths? This thing really exists? Yes. Jiraiya nodded, and then said, so, please help me a little bit. Advertisement. Is it the kid who summoned us back then? Shen Zuo Shenren asked. In their memory, Shi Yu used to summon their family home 3 years ago. Even their biggest, Iwajuku Big Toad, in Mount Myoboku is not spared. At that time, he had thought about whether Shi Yu would also be sent out by summoning if the Toad Immortal hadn't cancelled the summoning contract. In addition, the latter was born with tailed chakra, which reminded them that Shi Yu may have some connection with the legendary Sage of Six Paths. In other words, Shi Yu is his reincarnation. Of course, all this is just their guess, and there is no way to confirm it. I think too, but I am a junior. But now Jiraiya is telling them, Rinnegan, that it is reality, which has to make them think of the enchanting Toki. But having said that, why did you do it with your own students? Don't say it, all of your kids' students are talents. Jiao de Jiao. This is a long story, I have time to explain to you in the future. No, otherwise, when they first came out, they would not question, Rinnegan, that this kind of eyes really existed. Thank you for reading this story at fictionzone.net. Your support enables us to keep a site running. There is no way for the master of Shanshu to be as mature as that, and there is no way to maintain this state for a long time like the two. Jiraiya is very humble, but it is true. However, Jiraiya's answer denied their guess. Jiraiya, you should almost learn to transform into Sage mode by yourself. However, Immortal Jima mentioned another thing. After all, the opponent in front of me has Rinnegan. This kind of supreme pupil technique, I can't be negligent of course. Therefore, they don't know that the latter is justified. He is a student I have taught before. After hearing Jiraiya's words, the two of them no longer continued to dwell on this issue. Obviously, Nagato's Jiraiya didn't advance with Fukasaku and Shima. Chapter 515 Frog's Secret Art, Son of Prophecy, da da da. Listening to the dialogue and footsteps from the cave in the wall, Pain also murmured to himself. Whether it is Jiraiya, or Orochimaru and Tsunade, as Sanin, they all use special techniques. A second after Pain's heart voice fell, a sound of falling to the ground like a muffled thunder also sounded. Boom. At this time, Jiraiya's figure appeared in Pain's field of vision again, but the appearance of the former was different from before. The face has undergone subtle changes, and there are subtle signs of frogification. The most abrupt thing is that he has a frog standing on each of his shoulders, two frogs much smaller than a toad. One jumped out of the hole in the wall. The eyes of Immortal Shen Zuo and Immortal Ji Ma swept around for the first time, and now they are looking for something. After scanning to no avail, Shen Zuo Shenran also asked. 717 inches Jiraiya. Where is the Six Paths eye, you said? Why didn't I see it? As soon as Shen Zuo Shenran's words fell, Jiraiya didn't wait for Jiraiya to answer, but Jima Shenran on the side was the first to speak. I think your eyesight has deteriorated because you are old. Do not. Jiraiya denied Immortal Shima's point of view, and then said, that guy and a summoning beast that can make the body transparent, you can't see him with the naked eye. Transparency. Advertisement Immortal Jima muttered and guessed. That should be a summoning beast like a chameleon. Jiraiya nodded and continued. CGDD. I have no enchantment around me, as long as it touches it, I can find its location. This is too passive. Let me use biodetection to find them out. Old lady, don't be so excited, watch out for more wrinkles. After hearing the ridicule of the Immortal deeply, the Immortal Jima immediately refuted it. Devil, you shut up. The Immortal Jima who had fallen in the voice had already formed the Hindi style, but it was obviously not a simple matter to find Pen and the chameleon in one go. So, She needs some preparation time so that the scope of the surgery is enough to cover this space. And when Shima Immortal prepared their unique secret technique on Mount Myoboku, Shenzuo Immortal also asked Jiraiya. Jiraiya. Your student has Rinnegan, so he is likely to be the son of prophecy in the mouth of the ancestor. Why didn't you tell us about this? And why did you do it with him? I thought he was dead, so I thought he was not the son of prophecy. As for why I did it with him, it was because he not only failed to grow in the normal direction as I expected, but also became a stranger to me. Hearing Jiraiya's answer, Shenzuo Xianren was Kaido. Since he has gone astray, he should be killed. Advertisement. That prediction is a joke of the old man with dementia, don't care about it. Immortal Ji-Ma interjected. I said, old lady, please respect your ancestors a little bit. Immortal Ji-Ma nodded, and then spread out his hand printing style. I saw her tongue sticking out, but this is not the point. The point is that since this tongue has a clear nose and eyes, it looks like a rash. Too lazy to care about you. It is not looking for the target by the eyes, but by the smell. Well known. Please, Jiraiya said. After her tongue was sticking out, she started to smell the scents around her. Toad's tongue is extraordinary, but the tongue of Immortal Jima is also too different at the moment. Immortal Jima snorted coldly, and then said, I'm ready, I can do it. Immortal Jima's eyes condensed, and he immediately locked in a direction, and 3 words came from his throat. Found it, A few seconds later. Thank you for reading this story at fictionzone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Undoubtedly, this must be related to her secret technique. Obviously. Next second. Chapter 516 The World and the Hungry Ghosts, Rebellion and Proof. Found it. A second after Immortal Jima's voice fell, her tongue stretched again and went directly to a certain corner of this space. The speed was so fast that Pain was astonished in secret. So fast, just before he exclaimed, the chameleon had been tied up by Immortal Jima's tongue. Caught it. In the speech, the Shima fairy, Chakra moved forward, and the power on the tongue suddenly strengthened again. Immediately afterwards, the original transparent body of the chameleon was exposed, and then directly dragged towards the ground by the Jima fairy. Boom! Smoke and dust were everywhere, accompanied by a wailing. Quack! Needless to say, the scream of this chameleon. The chameleon was picked out, but they still didn't see Pain's figure. In this regard, Immortal Jima seems to have a deep meaning. Devil, what are you doing in a daze? Understood. Shenzuo Shenren responded with a sound, and the corners of his mouth instantly bulged. Next second, a jet of water spouted from the mouth, like a blade, and the target was directed at the chameleon tied up by the Immortal Jima. Z. The water jet blade swept around, leaving a very deep gully, which was the mark of being cut hard. Advertisement when this ninjutsu cut the chameleon color in half, the latter also disappeared into a cloud of white smoke. When the white smoke slowly dissipated, a figure was also diffusely exposed in the air. Seeing this, Immortal Jima was immediately astonished. Is that, Rinnegan? It's exactly the same as the legend. It's really annoying eyes. I didn't expect that the prophetic son in the mouth of the ancestor would be him, Shenzuo Shenren said unwillingly. In his impression, Shi Yu was likely to be the person who changed the pattern of Ninja World predicted by Toad Sage. But now that he saw Pen's open black lens bracket Rinnegan close black lens bracket, he had to transfer this possibility to Nagato. No way, this is the legendary Eye of 6 Paths. Sage of 6 Paths, that is the originator of Ninzong. Having his eyes is likely to mean that Pain is the inheritance of his will, and is the next representative to change the world of ninja. You know, this eye hasn't appeared in thousands of years. Now this, Rinnegan, is not only present, but the latter is still a student of Jiraiya. This was in full compliance with the prophecy of Big Toad Sage, and they had to think that Nagato was the son of that prophecy. Even Jiraiya thinks like this at the moment, because, Toad Sage, the so-called appearance of the son of prophecy is to change the pattern of the ninja world, but it is not known whether it is going in a good direction or a bad direction. Seeing that his real body had been picked up by Jiraiya and others, Nagato knew that now it was impossible to fight against Jiraiya in this mode with the power of a brood Tao. At this point, he once again performed the summoning technique. This time is different from the previous few times. The previous few times were summoning beasts, but this time they were summoned. Those are 2 men. Both are dressed in black-red cloud robes, and both have orange hair like Tian Dao and Beast Dao. Obviously, this was specially made by Nagato. Advertisement. The long-haired young man is Human Dao, a Takeuki ninja teacher that Jiraiya encountered during his travels. He taught his children how to survive the war. The inch-headed man is Hungry Kido, the ninja Jiraiya met in the tavern, the ninja in the village of Kusakan, who has been complaining and is extremely dissatisfied with the world. Ask for flowers. Whether it is the animal life, the human life and the Hungry Kido now appearing. That is, these 3 people have had intersections with Jiraiya. Nagato chose Yahiko as the way of heaven, so that the latter can watch himself to realize his dream of peace. So, Nagato's life experience can be said to be very bumpy. When he was a child, he witnessed the scene of his parents being killed by a ninja. Under the pain, he chose a different path from Jiraiya. He chose to let the world feel the pain and understand the pain before reaching peace with force of deterrence. After living in the battlefield and becoming an orphan, they met Yahiko and Konan who were dependent on each other, and they also went to Jiraiya together. But the teachings of Jiraiya and the influence of Yahiko are also unforgettable for Nagato, which can never be erased. Let the ninjas who have fought against Jiraiya, the religious leaders and the teachers who teach children and other people of different professions as other pain. What they have in common is not only limited to hair color and clothes, the most important thing is that their eyes are Rinnegan. Besides that, they all have a special experience. Then Yahiko died, and he himself became disabled. After experiencing the pain, Nagato questioned Jiraiya's teaching, how can peace be achieved? Big. This may be a manifestation that the rebellious disciple proved to the master. To be precise, the corpses used by Nagato to make 6 paths pain were in contact with Jiraiya. The time spent with Jiraiya, Yahiko and Konan was the happiest time in Nagato's life, but it was a pity that Jiraiya left. And there is a reason for this naturally. Chapter 517 Rush to Rain Shinobi, Immortal Power. And just when the human world and the hungry Kido appeared. At this time, in a hostel outside Rain Shinobi village, Takiwa got up from his bed very reluctantly. Taking a look at the fragrant phosphorus that was still asleep, a faint arc appeared at the corner of Shiyu's mouth. Undoubtedly, he gained another gain from this trip. That is, take the fragrant phosphorus. If it weren't for sneaking into Rain Shinobi village to save Jiraiya, Shiyu would have another wonderful dance this morning. When leaving, Shiyu prepared breakfast for Shanglin and left a note of July 20th. Said that he went out to do something and will be back soon. Out of the hostel, Shiyu looked up at the direction of Rain Shinobi village and muttered to himself. It's time to meet officially. At the same time, Rain Shinobi village is in a slightly broken tower. Jiraiya looked at the human Dao and the hungry Kido standing next to the animal Dao, and a whisper came from her mouth. This time it is a human being summoned. Jiraiya's eyes narrowed between the words and said again, Nagato, you are the one who brought destruction. So to defeat you here is my mission as a teacher. Seeing this scene, Shenzuo Shenran couldn't help but express his views. What's going on? All 3 have Rinnegan, that should be his technique. The summoning beast he summoned earlier is also the same. It seems that there must be some secret in this. Jiraiya's voice fell, and Shima Immortal complained. Advertisement, really, I actually run into this kind of thing when I was busy cooking. Old lady, don't think about cooking now. Let's concentrate on dealing with the enemy in front of you. Devil, are you ordering us? Seeing the quarrel between Shenzuo Xianren and Jima Xianren, the old husband and wife, Jiraiya had already taken offense. It's almost time to do it, but before starting the battle, let's show the fairy version, be handsome. Undoubtedly, Jiraiya's old problem has been committed again. I saw that Jiraiya began to pose one after another, all of which he thought were more handsome. In this process, the narcissistic speech is naturally indispensable. Attention. The next thing I want to perform is not ninjutsu, but immortality. Look up, I am the unparalleled hero, Jiraiya. As soon as Jiraiya's voice fell, there was a burst of pain on both sides of his cheek, accompanied by 2 unanimous words. It's so noisy, don't yell in your ears. Undoubtedly, he was beaten by Shenzo Immortal and Jima Immortal. At this moment, Jiraiya knows that this time of being handsome was hindered by the 2, he obviously can't continue. Quickly settle the matter, I have to go home and continue cooking. Old lady, don't think about cooking now, the most important thing right now is how to deal with those eyes. After all, this is the strongest pupil technique, I can't care about it. Advertisement, F*K me. The housewife wants to cook something, it's not a small problem. You old man, what is your attitude? I am worried about you. Jiraiya seemed to have insight into the latter's intentions, and avoided the trajectory of his attack with great ease. The human realm disappeared from its original position, and when it reappeared, it had already approached Jiraiya. Boom. For this scene, Nagato's expression was slightly moved. On the other side, Jiraiya, who repelled the human world, also took this opportunity to mediate the boring quarrel between Shenzuo Xianren and Jima Xianren. The 2 of you don't quarrel, do it quickly. At this moment, pain moved under the control of Nagato. Because this was the first time he saw Jiraiya showing this dignity, obviously this was also the first time he saw Jiraiya perform this secret technique. With a backhand punch, the human road blasted away. Awesome. At this moment, 3 words came out from his mouth heartily. Regarding this scene, Jiraiya looked helpless. Both of them are his elders. Naturally, he can't speak foul language. No accident, the human road that was hit by Jiraiya head on was directly mounted on the hard wall like a 3.3 cannonball. This is one of the capabilities of Sage Mode, whoosh. Immediately afterwards, however, Chapter 518 Composite Sage Art, Gomon. The 2 of you don't quarrel and do it quickly. After hearing Jiraiya's words, Shensaku and Shima finally stopped their boring quarrel. Humph, let's eat fried chicken tonight. After a decision to fall, Immortal Jima said immediately. Jiraiya sprays oil, the dead ghost uses wind style. No problem, Jiraiya responded, and then bulged in 2 laps. Immediately afterwards, a cloud of gray-black viscous liquid sprayed out of Jiraiya's mouth, which was toad oil. Seeing this, Shensaku and Shima also used their own ninjutsu. Shenzuo Shenran uses water style, Shima Immortal uses open black lens bracket fire style close black lens bracket. When these 3 Chunin skills touched, a new kind of ninjutsu was born. 26. Sage Art Gomon. With the formation of this fairy technique, the 3 substances combined into a molten liquid and pointed directly at the 3 pennons. Seeing this scene, Nagato's eyes condensed secretly. Under his control, the hungry Kido pain suddenly rushed out, and the frontal hardened steel of the fairy technique performed by the three of Jiraiya. Next second, hungry Kido was directly overwhelmed by their magic in the eyes of Jiraiya and others. Advertisement. But at this moment, a strange scene appeared. I saw that the molten substance slowly disappeared, and it was completely gone in a short period of time. Moreover, the hungry Kido, who was submerged by the glass of fairy skills, also appeared in their field of vision first. The most important thing is, there is no injury on the latter. This result is undoubtedly beyond the expectations of Jiraiya and others. Although the immortal technique that the three of them used together was not a super strong one, it was definitely not weak. Even the cage level strong can only temporarily avoid the edge. But now, this immortal technique was unexpectedly received by a big man. Can this not make them shocked? Jiraiya looked around at the hungry Kido and found that he couldn't even see a drop of oil around him. This makes him very puzzled. Although his toad oil has been burned by open black lens bracket fire style close black lens bracket, it is impossible to evaporate completely in such a short period of time. At this time, Jiraiya obviously couldn't think of one reason, because he still didn't know the ability of hungry Kido. Hungry Kido can absorb all ninjutsu. The toad oil sprayed by Jiraiya is made of chakra, and it is reasonable to be absorbed. Certainly, if the hungry Kido absorbs too much open black lens bracket Shianshu chakra close black lens bracket, his body will slowly petrify. Shanshu chakra is not as simple as ordinary chakra. There are two ways to control this power. The first is to have sage body quality advertisement. The second is master sage mode. As for the curse pattern, it is just a forced application of natural energy. Moreover, if you absorb too much, you will die at any time. In general, the curse imprint mode is accompanied by great risks. Seeing this scene, Immortal Jima was also puzzled. How could this happen? Didn't you hit him? It seems that this guy also has a problem. Shenzuo Shenran expressed his opinion. Jiraiya looked at the hungry Kido in front of him and seemed to have made some decision. 720. It seems that it can only be confirmed through hand-to-hand combat. Jiraiya, whose voice fell off, took off his shoes. Obviously, the wooden exhibition affected his battle. Pen's strength is so strong, he dare not slacken a bit. At this time, Jiraiya puts both hands on the ground, and the posture is similar to that of a frog. It's a pity that you can clearly see that Jiraiya's hands and feet are showing signs of frogification. From then on, it can be more intuitive to see that he is indeed not perfect for the master of sage mode. Next second, he jumped directly and his whole body burst out. Immediately afterwards, a huge chakra ball is formed in his palm, which is the size of 3 people. This is Sage Art Super Big Ball Rasengan, Chapter 519 Mao Gen Shinban, Meat Shield Panda. Sage Art Super Big Ball Rasengan. Faced with such a powerful attack from Jiraiya, hungry Kido was completely panicked. I saw him as he dealt with Sage Art Gomon before, and directly stretched out his hands and shook it with him. This scene naturally caused the consternation of the Jiraiya trio. But in the next second, their astonishment turned into a deep consternation. Because the huge, super big ball Rasengan disappeared at a speed visible to the naked eye, and was finally absorbed by the hungry Kido. This guy can absorb the technique, so it was only before. At this moment, Jiraiya basically knew what was going on, and the pen owner in front of him had the ability to absorb ninjutsu. At the moment Jiraiya thought about it, Nagato controlled the animal Dao pen to attack again. In this regard, Shenzuo Shenren, who was the first to notice this, quickly reminded Jiraiya, be careful behind. The immortal Shenzuo between the words directly took out a toad oil fume bomb. This kind of bomb designed to make fog. Boom. As the fume bomb exploded, Beast Dao closed his eyes subconsciously. Advertisement and Jiraiya seized this gap, relying on the power of Sage Mode, to go directly behind the animal road. Without any hesitation, it was just a punch. In the expectation of Jiraiya and others, this punch can basically hit 100% under the blessing of Sage Mode, state. Not to mention that the animal path at this time has lost its insight, and the place where Jiraiya attacks at this moment is his blind spot of vision. It stands to reason that this blow must be tenable. But the fact is that they slapped them in the face so hard that Jiraiya's fist was directly blocked by Brute Dao with one hand. Moreover, it's not as simple as it happens or to perceive the approximate location. Because at this moment the big hand of Brute Dao actually grasped Jiraiya's fist firmly, the distance was not bad, it was as accurate as he had seen Jiraiya's attack. This result really makes Jiraiya incredible. If you don't even look at it, you can grasp that the attack in this state is not bad enough to block the attack. How did this guy do it? Obviously, Jiraiya at this moment does not know that the eyes of 6 paths pain can be shared. As a low drink rang from Jiraiya's heart, his white hair suddenly swelled. In his opinion, this is undoubtedly the best time. The hairs that looked like silver needles suddenly shot out, pointing directly at the animal way. Advertisement next second. As for Jiraiya, he had prepared a kind of celestial technique behind the beast road just a second ago. A thick-skinned body, a solid shield. In his opinion, Brute Dao must be unprepared, this time, but the facts once again slapped him in the face. At this moment, the attention of Beast Dao was attracted by it. Seeing that the attack was blocked, Jiraiya quickly came up with a countermeasure. This summoning beast does not have too strong offensive power, but its defense power is several times that of other summoning beasts. He left a frog in the smoke, and when the smoke slowly dissipated, the frog jumped out of it according to his instructions. I saw that the animal Dao with its back turned to him was sealed at the same time when he cast the magic spell, and summoned a summoning beast. Jiraiya didn't hesitate to display it directly. Thank you for reading this story at fictionzone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Undoubtedly, this beast Dao Pain's defensive method. Shu, 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 Sage Art Mao Needle Senbon. That is a Panda, Chapter 520 visual sharing. Avoid the edge for now. Seeing the panda summoning beast with all its hair pierced in hair, Jiraiya's brows wrinkled more and more. This scene is no different from before. If he said that the first animal life was a coincidence, he could accept it, but this time the animal Dao obviously was attracted by the frog he left behind. But even in this way, the latter can still be shown in time, which is a bit weird. Whether it was the first time or this time, Beast Dao didn't make any unnecessary movements, as if he had seen him a long time ago. What is going on here? Jiraiya looked at Human Dao, Hungry Keto, and Animal Dao. He was pretty sure that the three had not communicated at all. Even winking was impossible, because for the first time they couldn't look at each other with their backs facing each other. Take a step back and say. Even if the three of them are scouting-type ninjas, what they perceive is only an approximate range and cannot be accurate to a specific location. So, everything still depends on the eyes to see. But this was the problem with 720. The Beast Dao reacted and defended in time when he turned his back to him twice. Especially the second time. Sage Art Mao Needle Chiban is the fastest attack speed in all his operations, and the attack range is the widest. But Beast Dao can judge everything, and even the upcoming danger, without relying on sight. Obviously there are secrets they don't know. Seeing Jiraiya's analytical look, Shen Zuo Shenren also expressed his thoughts. It seems that they are not pure clones. Jiraiya, you said earlier that there are some secrets in them. It seems that you guessed it right. Advertisement, did you find it? Find what? Jiraiya gave a stunned voice. Apparently he hadn't understood the connection between the three pens. Just now we caught the guy behind who only used the summoning technique. It is reasonable to say that you would have too late to attack him from a blind spot in the field of vision. But at that time, the other two Pain had been staring at us. I found this too, but the problem is that they didn't hint at each other through their voices and eyes. Jiraiya expressed his opinion. Indeed so. Immortal Shen Zuo nodded, and then said, but have you ever thought of a possibility, if their eyes can share it? Shared? Shen Zuo Xian Ren also explained Jiraiya's astonishment. Their eyes are all the same, plus they are all controlled by the same person. Therefore, it is reasonable to have such a possibility. Well, this should be the most reasonable explanation we can think of right now. Jiraiya agreed with Shen Zuo Shenren's point of view, and then said. But what's worse now is their ability, especially Pen who can absorb all ninjutsu among them. In this case, it would be too hard to use, CGDD, 1 enemy 3. If I want to continue fighting, even if I keep Sage mode, I still might be killed. I didn't expect him to be so strong. At this moment, Jiraiya finally knew why Pain was able to destroy the former Rain Shinobi village, alone. Advertisement: the latter's power is far beyond his imagination. For this sudden situation, Immortal Ji Ma asked. As Jiraiya said, a careless person can really explain it here. Although she knew that killing Pen was a vital matter, it seemed trivial compared to Jiraiya's safety. But it takes time, so I can only avoid the edge for the time being. Jiraiya nodded, and then leaned forward and plunged directly into the hole left in the previous wall. Thank you for reading this story at fictionzone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. The only one who can defeat Pen without knowing his abilities is, first Hokage, the god of ninja, and Uchiha Madara, who is comparable in strength. Although she looks good at Jiraiya, the ability that Pain showed in front of her made her extremely jealous. After hearing what Jiraiya said, Shen Zuo Xian Ren suggested. Jiraiya, retreat first, in Jiraiya's cognition. Do not. Regarding the words of Immortal Shima, Jiraiya denied. Do you want to escape? We want to take this opportunity to analyze the ability of Six Paths Eye, and then come up with strategies to deal with it. The previous, Hanzo of the Salamander, was honored as a half-god by the ninja world, so Pen who defeated the former directly defined it as a god. The wall was connected to countless pipes, and Jiraiya began to gallop along one of the pipes. Chapter 521 Legend of Reincarnation. Illusory chanting. When avoiding, Shen Zuo Xian Ren also briefly stated his own views. Although the three of them have different appearances, their eyes are all from Six Paths, Rinnegan. Even if one of them is Nagato, I don't think there will be so many people in this world who have Rinnegan. Regarding Shen Zuo Shenren's views, Jiraiya was lost in thought. He has traveled in the ninja world for many years and has only seen Nagato own open black lens bracket Rinnegan close black lens bracket. This shows how rare this kind of eyes is. Although, Rinnegan, Byakugan, and Sharingan are listed as the world's 3 largest pupils, although the latter two have not many owners, they are definitely not as rare as the former. He had just heard of it before he met Nagato. Those are some of the painting books left before, which recorded Sage of Six Paths, owning Rinnegan. But because it was a matter of endless years, and since then, such eyes never appeared again. So, whether it is Sage of Six Paths, or Rinnegan, they are all considered by posterity to be a legend conceived by their predecessors. But after meeting Nagato, Jiraiya believed in this fact. Rinnegan does exist, so the character, Sage of Six Paths, should have appeared in history. There must be a secret we don't know. Also, who the hell is Pain? Obviously, Jiraiya at this moment did not know that these Pen were all human puppets, operated by Nagato. In his opinion, Nagato may be just one of them. After hearing Jiraiya's words, Shenzuo Xianren immediately took the words. We are still not sure what their identities are, but we can infer some things based on the battle just now. Advertisement, that is, the perspectives of the three of them are connected, and they can share everything they see with each other. Undoubtedly, this is one of Rinnegan's abilities. Simply put, their vision is 3 times that of normal people. Moreover, this is somewhat different from Byakugan's ability, because he can do this without consuming any chakra at all. This ability is costless to them, so they will always have a perfect vision advantage in battle. Hearing these words deeply, Jiraiya frowned. In this case, I have to dismantle them and break them one by one. As long as it's one-on-one, I can definitely beat him. After thinking about the countermeasures, Jiraiya put forward the problems they need to face now. Since they have the ability to share vision, their tactics should try not to separate the 3 of them. From the previous battle, it is impossible to separate them with physical skills, and ninjutsu will be absorbed. Hearing this, Shenzuo Shenren took the conversation. Since physique and ninjutsu are not good, you can only use illusion. I can't illusion, but I remember the 2 flowers. Obviously, this is the only way Jiraiya can think of. If he is really your apprentice, then he should know that you can't do illusions. In this way, maybe we can succeed. As soon as Immortal Shenzuo's words fell, the immortal Ji-Ma, who had been silent for a long time, suddenly spoke. Advertisement. Moreover, the voice is very loud. Do not want. Don't even kill me. 0 from her tone, she knew that she was very resistant to the use of illusions. Hearing that, Jiraiya was a little bit reluctant. Obviously, he didn't know the inside story, so he could only ask weakly. What's the meaning? Shenzuo Shenren sighed and then persuaded him. Old lady. This battle involves the peace of this world, don't be so capricious. I don't care about the prophecy of the demented old man. Don't call it that, big master. And the elder, didn't you ask us to get along well with the couple? Don't be angry at every turn. Seeing how they looked like this, Jiraiya interjected in a low voice. Big sister, what on earth are you disgusting? Humph. Immortal Jima snorted coldly, and then said, I'm already a big boss, I don't want to sing due to a dead ghost. That would be too shameful. Chapter 522 Life and Death Bet, fall into the trap. What, duet? The Jiraiya in the words was also a little dazed, and obviously did not expect that their illusion would be passed in this way. Immortal Jima nodded and explained. General illusion techniques are not used, but the general illusion techniques are definitely not enough to deal with the enemy in front of them. As for our master's strongest illusion, it is an illusion that uses singing to attack the enemy. Hearing, Jiraiya murmured, then suddenly realized that he looked at Shenzuo Xian, who was aside. No wonder, July 20th, just now you suggested that I retreat first. It turned out to be this idea. Yes. But although this illusion is strong, it also has a fatal weakness. That is, once you make a sound, you will be taken by the enemy master. This illusion requires the enemy to hear a sound for a period of time before it can be activated. This is an illusion that can make people unconsciously hit. So, this process takes a certain amount of time. If the enemy determines our position before the illusion, then we lose. On the contrary, we won. After hearing these words from the immortal, Jiraiya also thoroughly understood. He bowed his head and groaned for a moment, then spoke. If there is a situation that will endanger the lives of both of you, please disappear from my shoulders immediately. As soon as Jiraiya's voice fell, Shenzuo Xianren immediately responded. Advertisement, how can this be done? This battle is about the future of shinobi. P. Jiraiya was taken aback for a moment. He didn't expect Shenzuo Shenren to sacrifice his life so much. Even if his life was in danger, he would have to fight with him hand in hand. Taking a deep breath, Jiraiya spoke again. I have an idea. However, this is a bet. Between the words, Jiraiya's face was full of dignity. Obviously his thoughts are directly related to life and death. After a while, after finishing the plan, Jiraiya and others started directly. I saw that the Shenzuo Xianren and Jima Xianren standing on Jiraiya's shoulders had already begun to sing loudly, sounding like Hongzhong Da Lu, walking in all directions along the pipe. Qua. Gua. As these voices continued to be heard, the expressions of the 3 pens who were chasing Jiraiya were all startled. The leading beast road directly stopped, while the other 2 also stopped moving on. The animal road was close to the inner wall of the pipe, and he listened carefully. This is the cry of a frog. The beast between the words narrowed his eyes, and thought to himself, is it an illusion? Nagato has lived with Jiraiya for 3 years, and naturally knows that Jiraiya can't perform illusions. But Jiraiya won't. It doesn't mean that even a frog won't. Nagato guessed the illusion, but what he guessed was that the frog's cry was made by the illusion. Advertisement. He never thought that this was the root of illusion. After some listening, Nagato quickly confirmed the direction of sound propagation. It came from that direction. Without any hesitation, Nagato controlled the 3 pens and immediately moved towards an entrance on the right front. As predicted, soon after they rushed into this entrance, they found traces of Jiraiya. The latter was standing right in front of them at this time, and the two toads on their shoulders were constantly screaming. Originally, he thought the voice was an illusion they made, but now it seems that he was wrong. As expected, Jiraiya deliberately brought them here. When they rushed to Jiraiya, another Jiraiya appeared in the wall behind them. Upon seeing this, the hungry Kido who ran at the end murmured, "Shadow clone." As soon as the muttering 3.3 in his heart fell, Jiraiya spit out a cannonball-like flame in his mouth. Fire-style Dayan Bo. At this moment, Nagato realized that this should be a trap for Jiraiya. But as for what the latter wants to do, he still doesn't know. Certainly, even if he knew this was a trap set by Jiraiya, he would come to find out. Because he doesn't want Jiraiya to leave Rain Shinobi Village alive. Chapter 523 Toad is about to sing, Fudo Mingwang, Fire-style Big Flame Bomb. Seeing Jiraiya unexpectedly appeared in a sneak attack, Nagato didn't panic at all. He controlled the hungry Kido to stop, preparing to absorb this ninjutsu. Upon seeing this, Jiraiya was overjoyed. Very good. I was right, the big man ran to absorb ninjutsu. Previously, Jiraiya and Shenzuo Xianren discussed this issue, that is, each of the three pens may only have one ability. Dao Pain, the first animal to appear, has the ability to summon summoning beasts. This hungry big Kido has the ability to absorb all ninjutsu, or he can absorb all chakra. As for the last human realm, he didn't know the ability of the latter. Because from his appearance to the present, he has not shown any ability. According to the current situation, hungry Kido is looking at the ninjutsu in front of him, and Beast Daojung 26 is looking at his body. As for the human world, he was temporarily blinded by Jiraiya inadvertently. At that time, Jiraiya just showed Sage Mode. Nagato sent the human world to explore the depth. The result was that Jiraiya was hit by a heavy blow, and the place where it hit was the front of the ladder. As a result, now there are only one pair of eyes that are staring at him. This is the end of my thought. Jiraiya has no unnecessary nonsense, and the body performs the same ninjutsu as the clone. In this narrow passage space, how can the animal Dao, who can only use the summoning technique, avoid his attack? Still this trick? Nagato murmured in his heart, and immediately controlled the animal road and the human road to jump up in the air, because there was a gap above it that was not affected by the flame. Advertisement, however, Nagato obviously did not think that this was deliberately done by Jiraiya. Whether it is a human, or endure it, in the face of powerful attacks, they will subconsciously choose to avoid them. Unless it is unavoidable, he will choose to resist, since there is a possibility of avoiding in front of him. Nagato is naturally not stupid enough to let the animal road and the human road to resist this trick, fire style. Needless to say, Jiraiya caught this Ishin thought. After the beast Dao and the human Dao jumped up, they did escape the great flame bomb, ranged smoothly. But when the soles of the feet of the human world touched the stone wall above the head, the feet were directly sunk in. Perceiving this situation, Nagato secretly said in his heart, "This is Earth-style Wangshen Marsh, oops, fooled." At this moment, Nagato has realized that he has fallen into the trap designed by Jiraiya. Therefore, before the soles of Brute Dao's feet touched the stone wall above his head, he directly used the body of human Dao to force himself down. Seeing this scene, Jiraiya's eyes suddenly lit up. This becomes one-on-one. At this time, Nagato also sensed that the situation was not optimistic, and called the summoning beast when the animal path fell from the air. Upon seeing this, Jiraiya rushed out suddenly, don't want to use summoning technique. In a one-to-one situation, Sage Mode, Jiraiya has an absolute advantage. In addition, at this time, the body of Beast Dao was in a state of falling, and it was impossible to avoid his attack by taking advantage of it. And Jiraiya will not let go of this opportunity. Without any suspense, Beast Dao's chest suffered a heavy blow. Bump. Advertisement at the same time, Shenzuo Shenren and Jima Shenren's illusion skills jointly performed are also coming to an end. Sage Art the Toad can't sing the king, only four godlike toads appeared around the three pens. They held a sword in one hand and pressed the other around them. At this moment, pain was sealed by the four King Ming in a small three-dimensional space, where the water flow would make them slowly lose consciousness. In this way, none of your bodies can move. I didn't expect to be a general army. At this time, Jiraiya is one with Shenzuo Xianren and Jima Xianren, so he can also see all the scenes in the illusion. If Jiraiya Master had used ordinary illusions, he would still be so shocked, but this toad cannot sing Mingwang really exceeded his expectations. Seeing this scene, Jiraiya was also taken aback. A person who wants to promote a strong enough attainment in a field he is not good at is definitely more difficult than reaching the sky. No wonder Nagato was so shocked, because in his memory, Jiraiya was not good at illusion. Is this the bondage illusion that can bond the spirit? Not to mention that it has been many years, even if it is a poor life, it is difficult to do it. This is the awesomeness of this illusion, but now Jiraiya actually did it, which makes Nagato not shocked. Mr. Jiraiya, I didn't expect you to be capable of this kind of illusion. Nagato controlled Beast Road and muttered to himself, and then looked at Jiraiya outside. Thank you for reading this story at fictionzone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. It can not only restrain the puppets and clones, but also make the manipulators behind them lose their ability to act. 723 Illusion is the hurdle that Jiraiya can't pass. Everyone has their own areas of expertise, and also have their inherent shortcomings. Chapter 524 Kill, Leave, New Pen. Mr. Jiraiya, I didn't expect you to have this kind of illusion. After hearing Nagato's words, Jiraiya didn't tell the truth. Obviously he didn't want the latter to know the secret of this illusion. Nagato, I should have taught you. No matter what kind of opponent you face, you can't be careless. Seeing the 3 pens trapped in the Fudo Myujin illusion, Jiraiya closed his eyes and sighed. Nagato, you got your mission wrong. Instead of using pain to guide the world, it is better to use your power that transcends pain to guide the world. Although we have only been together for 3 short years, I once believed that you were the son of that prophecy. At this point, Jiraiya opened his eyes. Immediately afterwards, the eyes of the 3 pain were filled with reluctance and helplessness. Farewell. With the falling of the 3 words Jiraiya, he summoned 3 great swords from the seal scroll. Then, with a look of decisiveness, he killed the animal Dao, the human Dao and the hungry Kido. Because of the Toad Rin Sing Fudo Myujin, the Nagato body at this time was also hit. Therefore, at this moment, he can't drive other pain to help. Looking at the big swords on the 3 pens' chests, Jiraiya's tight heart finally loosened. Because these 3 people will bleed, and their bodies are all flesh and blood. Advertisement therefore, Jiraiya concluded that he had killed Nagato. Finally, it's over. Upon hearing Jiraiya's words, Immortal Shensi and Immortal Jima suddenly coughed. Ahem. Ahem. Aware of this situation, Jiraiya asked immediately. You two are okay? It doesn't get in the way. Shenzuo Shenren responded, and then explained. It's just that the sound illusion cast just now will cause a great load on the throat. The longer it lasts, the greater the load. Certainly. The main reason is that both of us are getting old. It is inevitable that we are a little weak, don't worry. Upon hearing this, Immortal Jima also complained. It's too hard to match the beat with you, dead ghost, and your throat will hurt, let's not say. The most important thing is that the chin will stretch and sag, and in severe cases, wrinkles will occur. That's why I said before that this kind of illusion can't be used casually. Upon hearing the words of Immortal Jima, Jiraiya also smiled. I'm so sorry, please rest well with both of you. Advertisement, didn't you teach me not to be careless? While speaking, Jiraiya glanced at the 3 corpses on the ground, and then headed out of the tower. Jiraiya's footsteps in the walking passage suddenly stopped, and his eyes were filled with awe. The reason why they are able to act is very simple, because Shenzuo Xian Ren and Jima Xian Ren have already solved the Sage Art illusion. After a while, he wants to use the strongest strength to keep Jiraiya behind, so as to prevent the things from happening again. Thank you for reading this story at fictionzone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. This shows that Nagato doesn't want to hide anymore. Zhao is good. Now that the culprit, Nagato, has been punishable, he has no need to stay in Rain Shinobi Village anymore. In addition to the Tao of Heaven, the other 2 are the Tao of Shura and the Tao of Hell. M's Jiraiya. But this is not the point is the familiar sentence of the latter. However, that is, at that moment, Nagato manipulated them to rush to come here. Nothing else, just because of this, a figure appeared behind him. These 3 people are not others, it is the remaining 3 pain. Just as Jiraiya walked away slowly, the 3 figures were already galloping in the dark, coming straight to him. Chapter 525 Broken Arm. Astonishment, Pen 6 Paths. Didn't you teach me not to be careless? M's Jiraiya? Hearing that, Jiraiya didn't need to guess and knew that Nagato didn't hang up. At this moment, there was only one thought in his mind, and that was to distance himself from the people behind him. Of course, Nagato will not miss this opportunity to hit Jiraiya. At that moment, both sides moved. At the moment Jiraiya rushed out, the attack of Shura Dao behind him also fell on Jiraiya. Boom! With a loud noise, a huge hole suddenly appeared in the wall outside the tower. Immediately afterwards, a figure rushed out of it. The figure did not fly out, but fell directly on the water. After sliding on the water for a certain distance, he stabilized his figure. This figure is no one else, it is Jiraiya. It's just that the latter state of 723 is not good at this time. His left arm has disappeared, and the scarlet blood can be clearly seen dripping from it. Tick. Tick. There was a faint sound from the blood falling on the water, but at this moment it could be heard clearly. Aware of Jiraiya's physical condition, Shenzuo Shenren also hurriedly cared. Jiraiya, your left hand, don't get in the way. Advertisement. When Jiraiya's voice fell, a sound of landing followed. Boom. At this moment, Jiraiya also saw clearly the person who attacked him just now. It was an unfamiliar face, but the latter was similar to the previous 3 pens. In addition to the black, CGDD, red cloud robe on the body, the unique pair of open black lens bracket Rinnegan close black lens bracket is the most eye-catching. Of course, he has one point that is very different from the previous 3. That is that this person is a bald. Undoubtedly, he is one of Pen's 6 paths, Shura Dao. Shura Dao. A puppet master encountered by Jiraiya during his travels. He believes that fate does not need to be searched for. People must admit their fate to the coming fate and believe that they should be thrown into the upcoming war. After this person died, he was made Shura Dao by Nagato. Looking at the Asura Dao in front of him, Shenzuo Shenren looked astonished. How so? This person is different from the 3 just now. Originally, Shenzuo Shenren thought that one of the people who attacked Jiraiya was killed by them, but who would have thought that a new pain would appear? Jiraiya narrowed her eyes and responded. He may have been summoned before the 3 pen died. Before hitting our illusion? Shenzuo Shenren murmured to himself, thinking this was the best explanation. But in fact, this is not the case. Advertisement. In fact, Nagato only wanted to deal with outsiders with the animal way at the time, but when he found out that the intruder was Jiraiya, he didn't dare to be careless. Hell Road. He can summon and control the king, and serve as intelligence gathering and auxiliary tasks in Pen 6 paths. And when the Jiraiya trio were shocked, the Hell Road behind the tower had already revived the 3 Pens who had just been defeated by Jiraiya. After his death, he was made Hell Road by Nagato. Second, he didn't want to show all his strength at once, because that would put too much load on his body. This person is a religious leader Jiraiya met during his travels. He is a person who teaches people to avoid disasters by praying in troubled times. Especially after Jiraiya used the Sage mode, he felt that it was obviously impossible to take it down with the power of the Brood Tao alone. At the same time, it was accompanied by an exciting sound. 3 articles. This is also a hidden backhand for him. Thank you for reading this story at fictionzone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Oh, shoo. For one thing, he felt that 3 pens were enough to kill Jiraiya. With the sound of several landings, 5 more figures appeared beside Shira Dao. So, half of the power was used. Before the Jiraiya trio didn't know what was going on, the sound of breaking the wind was heard from the hole in the wall behind Shira Road. And what he resurrected other pain is his 3 abilities: open black lens bracket, rebirth, close black lens bracket. Summon King, put the damaged pen into King's mouth and chew it to resurrect. Pen 6 paths, come on, chapter 526 fight hard. The boy who appeared suddenly. Pen 6 paths, come on. Looking at the 6 people in front of them, Jiraiya, Shenzuo Xianren, and Sesame Xianren were all dumbfounded. There are actually 6 people. Look, the 3 people who were just knocked down by us are also inside. If there is no accident, it should be those later guys who resurrected them by some kind of technique or some method. Resurrect 3 completely dead people? I didn't expect that this kind of technique would actually exist in this world. From the conversation between Immortal Jima and Immortal Shenzuo, we can see that they are shocked at the moment. But they didn't know that these 6 people had actually died long ago, and the reason they had flesh and blood and signs of life was entirely because of Pen's transformation and his continuous delivery of chakra. Chakra is the power of life and life. Therefore, this kind of power can naturally make the flesh immortal and vitality. Uchiha Madara is the best example. He relied on the chakra delivered by the Geto statue, and lived until the Third Ninja World War. Pen 6 paths was reflected in his eyes, and Jiraiya questioned. Pen, who are you on Earth? For Jiraiya's question, Nagato controlled Heavenly Way Pain to give the answer. Pain, that's just the names of the 6 of us. Why do all 6 of you have Rinnegan? As soon as Jiraiya said this, Immortal Jima and Immortal Shenzuo who stood on his shoulders immediately strengthened their ears. Obviously, they would love to know the answer to this question. However, before Nagato could answer, Jiraiya's eyes suddenly appeared astonished. Nothing else, just because of the face of Heavenly Tao Pain. Advertisement, that face, are you Yahiko? At this moment, Jiraiya's heart is full of doubts, because in the previous conversation with Nagato he learned that Yahiko is dead. But now, the latter not only appeared, but also had open black lens bracket Rinnegan close black lens bracket. Can this reversal not shock him? Regarding Jiraiya's doubts, Nagato's answer was still as plain as water, and there was no emotional change at all because of the owner of this body. You think I am like Yahiko? It's no wonder, who made you the teacher who taught us? Heavenly Path Pain muttered to himself, and then said, but Yahiko is dead, now it is Pain standing in front of you. Hearing this conversation between Jiraiya and Nagato, Shenzuo Shenren couldn't help but ask with curiosity in his heart. Jiraiya, what is going on? The speaker is one of the 3 children I have taught before, but he doesn't have that kind of eyes. After hearing Jiraiya's answer, before the immortal sitting deep to speak, the immortal Jima on the other side was the first to exclaim. What's the meaning? Could it be that 2 of these 6 are the sons of prophecy? At this moment, Jiraiya fell into thinking. At that time, he was the first to see Brood Tao. Although the appearance of the latter was too different from that of Nagato when he was a child, because of Rinnegan, he still regarded the former as the latter. But thinking about it now, he found that none of the 6 people in front of him had a similar appearance to Nagato. Moreover, one of them is still Yahiko. At this moment, Jiraiya is a little suspicious, who is actually operating the 6 people in front of him. For flowers, is it Nagato who has never shown up? Also, Yahiko in front of you. Advertisement. No matter what Jiraiya is determined for a while, he can only question Heavenly Tao again. What the hell are you guys? Didn't I tell you just now, we're Pain? Or, you can call me a god. Nagato also stopped talking nonsense, and rushed to Jiraiya with 6 pens. The reason for this scene is a big white hand, and at the moment the black stick is being held firmly in the palm of my hand. Next second. Big, Pain 6 paths participated in the battle, plus Jiraiya has lost his left arm. Looking along the big hand, you can clearly see that its owner is not Jiraiya with a broken arm. At this time, Jiraiya was also injured one after another. If it were not for the blessing of Sage Mode, I am afraid he would have been defeated long ago. Thank you for reading this story at fictionzone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. So, he made a decision. The black rod in the hand of Brood Tao suddenly stretched out and pointed directly at Jiraiya's chest. But a teenager. However, everyone who was surprised was that this scene did not happen. Perceiving this scene, Jiraiya knew that he was inevitable. Therefore, the battle is completely one-sided, because the black rod pierced by the beast road completely stopped when Jiraiya's chest was still 10 centimeters away, and could no longer advance for half a minute. Because he didn't understand the other three pen's abilities at all, especially the strongest way of heaven. I saw that his one hand had already started to seal. He wanted to pull the ladder into the enchantment vice admiral the moment he hit him. A boy who looks ordinary, chapter 527 Shiyu and Xiao Nan. The appearance of this young man made Nagato, Jiraiya and others in the dark stunned. Especially Jiraiya, Shenzuo Xianren and Jima Xianren, because they know the boy in front of them. Moreover, it is quite familiar, because this young man is not someone else, it is Shiyu. At this moment, Jiraiya's eyes stared at Toki in amazement. Obviously, the appearance of the latter was beyond their expectations. They recognized Shiyu's, July 27, identity, but Nagato couldn't know Shiyu's identity the first time. Although he had fought with Shiyu at the beginning, he had never seen Shiyu's true face. Between Nagato and Jiraiya's surprise, Shiyu's big hand suddenly squeezed the black stick to life. Click! Immediately afterwards, Shiyu directly kicked the animal Dao away. Pung! 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 Boom! The beast road glided for a certain distance on the surface of the water, and then slammed heavily on the wall. But this is not the point. The point is that the ladder's body directly smashed the wall out of a large hole, the scale of which was comparable to the previous Hellhound. Advertisement. This shows how powerful this foot is. And this also proves Shiyu's extraordinary from the side. There is no doubt that Shiyu learned this from Tsunade. A few seconds after the animal road smashed into the hole in the wall, Jiraiya came back to his senses, and then a stunned voice came out of his mouth. Shiyu, why are you here? After hearing this, Shiyu also turned to look at Jiraiya, who was a wolf fox, and answered the latter's question. I learned some news, so I came over to investigate. It's just that what I didn't expect is Pervy Sage, you are here too. Shiyu's answer is not a lie, because he and Sasuke said they came to investigate something. Hearing Shiyu's answer, Jiraiya also understood after a short thought. When he left Konoha and came here to investigate Rain Shinobi Village, he wanted to see Takiwa. But it was from Tsunade that Shiba was not in Konoha, but went to see Sasuke. In this regard, he was slightly disappointed, because this time he came to investigate Shao, the leader of the organization. He doesn't know if he can survive and go back alive. Now that Shiyu is here, he should have learned some news about Shao from Sasuke. Advertisement. It's just that he didn't expect Shiyu to appear in such a timely manner. Certainly, Jiraiya never thought that Shiyu had already anticipated that he would be in danger, so he came here deliberately. If Shiyu came to Rain Shinobi Village just to investigate, he wouldn't have to go up the mountain and play in the water. He even fought with Phosphorus in a hotel outside Rain Shinobi Village last night for nearly one night. All this is just waiting for Jiraiya to arrive. From the moment the system task lights up, he just knows that Jiraiya is leaving for Rain Shinobi Village. But he can only estimate the time of Jiraiya's arrival here, and cannot be precise to a certain day or a certain moment. After waking up this morning, he knew that Jiraiya had arrived through God's forbidden eyes, and then he reluctantly got up from the gentle village. The reason why 3.30 appears now is because he just played with an angel for a while. As predicted, soon after Shiyu appeared here, sheets of white paper floated slowly from the air. Next second, these white papers converged into a love shadow in the eyes of Shiyu and others, a shadow that everyone is familiar with. This woman is not someone else. It is Xiao Nan, chapter 528 Medical Magic, continue arm regeneration. Seeing Xiao Nan appeared, Tiandao Pain's eyes also shifted from Shiyu to the former. Xiao Nan, who is this person? I don't know too much, but he said he is a disciple of Jiraiya. Teacher Jiraiya's disciple. Nagato whispered and thought about it instantly. Next second, there was a name in his mind, and that was the boy they had just discussed, Tokigawa Takagawa. The latter claimed to be a disciple of Jiraiya, who was still such a young age. They can think of only two people, that is, Uzumaki Naruto, and Takikawa Tokyo. Whirlpool Naruto is the object they want to capture, and its appearance is naturally understood. As for Shiyu, they have only paid attention to it recently. So, they don't know the appearance of the latter, but they are obviously no strangers to this name. 26 After Itachi told them about Shiba Master Itachi opened black lens bracket Mangekyo Sharingan close black lens bracket, they started some investigations on the latter. Therefore, some useful information was also collected. One of them is written. This Takagawa Shigur is Genin who was taught by Jiraiya and Tsunade in Sannin. Nagato obviously did not expect that they were still discussing Shiyu not long ago, and the latter appeared directly in front of them. Moreover, it is still in their turf. Seeing Tiandao's contemplative look, Xiao Nan also reminded him. Pen, this kid is very strong. Hearing Xiao Nan's words, Nagato was also slightly surprised. Because Xiao Nan bites the word, very strong, extremely heavily, which is enough to show the latter's extraordinary. Advertisement. If not, it is impossible for the latter to get here under Xiao Nan's hunt. Pain's eyes stared at the Shiyu who was standing on the water, and the deep eyes seemed to want to tell the latter to see through. At the same time, Shenzuo Shenren also opened his mouth in shock after being astonished. Brat, you leave quickly, it's too dangerous here. Yes. Immortal Jima also agreed. They knew that Shi Yu had an extraordinary talent, and his current strength should also be good. But even so, the latter is absolutely impossible to be the opponent of Pen's six paths. Jiraiya in Sage Mode is still no match, so how could Shi Yu be a junior? Shi Yu smiled slightly when he heard the words and then said, "Don't worry, you two, since I dare to appear here, I am sure to leave." Shi Yu was extremely calm in the words, as if telling them that he was not joking. Now let's take Pervy Sage's hand. Immortal Shen Zuo and Immortal Ji Ma were shocked at the same time, and even Jiraiya's expression was startled. Next second, they noticed that Shi Yu was holding one arm, a bloody arm. Upon seeing this, they recognized at a glance that it was Jiraiya's left arm that had been blasted off by Shira Dao. Pervy Sage, it should be a little bit painful, bear with me a little bit. Advertisement. When the voice fell, Shi Yu dug the broken arm directly under the stunned eyes of Jiraiya and others. Although Jiraiya, as Sannin, has experienced countless battles, but the instinct from the body made him groan softly and then gritted his teeth and endured it. And the moment Shi Yu pushed the broken arm up, an incomparably pure energy flowed out of his body. When this energy appeared, Jiraiya, Shen Zuo Xian Ren and Ji Ma Xian Ren were all taken aback. This is not a Shanshu chakra, but an extremely powerful, Yang attribute chakra. Not only that, but it is actually mixed with a part of natural energy. Yang chakra. Although you can cultivate the ultimate, you can indeed ninja art. Meiotic regeneration, just like Tsunade's Baihao technique. But this is much worse than the recovery ability of natural energy. Senju Hashirama is the best example. With Sage Body, he can continuously absorb natural energy in nature after turning on Sage Mode, thus achieving continuous cell regeneration. This 727 point is naturally impossible for ordinary people to do. When Shiyu uses the Yang chakra for treatment, adding a bit of natural energy can maximize the healing effect. Of course, this method is impossible for ordinary people to use. The reason why Jiraiya can be used is that his body has already experienced the baptism of natural energy, and there is no rejection reaction. Adapt to open black lens bracket natural energy close black lens bracket. This is a necessary process to practice open black lens bracket Sage Mode close black lens bracket. Furthermore, the current Jiraiya is still in the state of Sage Mode. The treatment effect of this method is naturally the best. But this is what made the Jiraiya trio be shocked. They were naturally familiar with natural energy, but they never thought that Shiyu had already understood and mastered this power. Moreover, it is also used for treatment. If you can learn by yourself without a teacher, how heaven-defying this must be. Chapter 529 Wheel Revolving Heaven, Impure World Reincarnation. Outside the tower, on the water, under Toki's treatment, Jiraiya's broken arm is recovering at a speed visible to the naked eye. In a short moment, Tokiha connected Jiraiya's broken arm. This scene shocked everyone, because such superb medical ninjutsu is too rare. Even Tsunade, the most recognized medical ninja in the ninja world, can't do it. Although Nagato controls Hell Road and can reincarnate Pen's six paths, it is just these puppets. As for the outer Dao Wheel Revolving Heaven technique, although pervert, it is not considered medical ninjutsu. Moreover, this ninjutsu is accompanied by life-threatening. Casting this technique has two results. First, if you are resurrecting those who have just died, you only need to consume a huge amount of chakra to resurrect them. Moreover, it must be at the scene where those people died. Because the soul of the dead at that time has not yet gone to another world, so there is no need to pay the price of life. Second, once a certain period of time is exceeded, the use of this technique is to forcibly summon a person's soul from another world, which must be at the cost of life. Whether it is round revolving heaven, or impure world reincarnation. To forcibly summon a person's soul from another dimension, the need is the price of another soul. The so-called large-scale resurrection does not exist. The reason why Nagato is able to do something is that it is not long before those people die, and the soul will stay in this world for a period of time. Furthermore, their bodies are also intact. Having met these conditions, you only need to have enough chakra to resurrect them by using round revolving heaven. Advertisement. This is why Jiraiya has not been resurrected. As for Yahiko, it was because Nagato had not had the power of Master Rinnegan at the time. When he realized the power of six paths, everything was too late. If at that time he sacrificed himself to resurrect Yahiko, not only Xiaonan would not agree, but Yahiko's wish would not be fulfilled. Therefore, he chose to make Yahiko a god. Let the latter continue to walk in this world instead of oneself, and at the same time allow the latter to see the moment when the world changes. After seeing that his arm was intact, the pain on Jiraiya's face basically disappeared. Because Shi Yu not only healed his arm, but even some injuries on his body were also treated incidentally. Jiraiya moved his arms, a touch of joy appeared on his face. After feeling his current good physical condition, he couldn't help but said to Shi Yu, "Shiyu, your current medical ninjutsu is really incredible." Hearing Jiraiya's words, both Shen Zuo Xian Ren and Ji Ma Xian Ren couldn't help nodding their heads secretly. Shi Yu had to admire them. When they first met Shi Yu, they only knew that Shi was a talented junior and that he had a boundless future in Shindo. And because Shi Yu had tailed beast chakra on his body, they all doubted whether the latter was related to the legendary Sage of Six Paths. But now Shi Yu has shown the medical ninjutsu that makes them admire. Can this stop them from coughing? After all, only more than 2 years have passed between this time. They knew that even so, Nagato and Xiaonan who were on the opposite side were even more surprised. Relatively speaking, they know less about Shi Yu. Advertisement. The information they collected was written by Shi Yu, although he was considered Tsunade's disciple, but the latter didn't seem to learn much from Tsunade. They can't be blamed, after all, many people don't know it. Summoning. As a healing-type summoning beast, she has no reason not to teach Shi Yu, this talented evildoer. Such a powerful combat power is no longer weaker than him. This is not only because of his recovery, the most important point is that sometimes Yu helps each other. As for later, Tsunade was able to teach Shi Yu only some experience in the most precious open black lens bracket summoning technique, close black lens bracket. At this moment, when Jiraiya looked at Pain and the others, the fear on his face was obviously reduced. Shen Zuo Xian Ren said. Jiraiya and Ji Ma Xian Ren also looked at Shi Yu with amazement. Obviously, they are also very confused about this. Little guy, have you got an insight into natural energy? Thank you for reading this story at fictionzone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. So, they are quite curious about it, and all of this happened in Guanshu Street, 1,000 miles away from Konoha, so not many people knew about it. Immortal Shen Zuo saw that Jiraiya's arm recovered as before, and after a burst of joy, he also vomited the doubts in his heart. The latter not only killed Orochimaru, but also killed Admiral, Kakuzu and Hidan, the two members, Akatsuki, prevented. The three of them are all people with natural energy. Before Shi Yu used this energy as a medical method, it was natural that they couldn't hide their perception. He is not only referring to strength, but also Itachi's record and influence. Zhao Hao, in his opinion, Shi Yu surpasses 4 Hokage, it's just a matter of time. It took Shi Yu only a little time to basically give Tsunade's life learning to the master, and even created a Yang seal, similar to 100 Healings mark. These things were what Tsunade told him before he left Konoha, and he was quite relieved at the time. Chapter 530 Sage Body. Not a human at all. Little guy, do you understand natural energy? Hearing what the immortal said deeply, Shi Yu nodded and said truthfully. Sasuke was in Orochimaru's curse seal, and later I discovered that this curse seal uses this kind of energy. After hearing Shi Yu's explanation, Shen Zuo Shenren suddenly realized it. However, at this moment, they only knew that Shi Yu had insight into this energy, but they didn't think deeper. Insight into natural energy may require talent, but it also requires a certain amount of luck. If you haven't even seen this kind of energy, how can you talk about insight? And what they call deeper refers to sage mode. If there is no natural opportunity, it is extremely difficult to understand natural energy. Let alone use this energy, and the Sage 730 chakra, required by sage mode, so far, is undoubtedly the best use of natural energy. Therefore, they obviously don't think that Shi Yu can master sage mode without any guidance. Just like Jiraiya, he can say that he is studying under the shoulders of giant eyes. But so far, he himself cannot be a perfect master open black lens bracket sage mode close black lens bracket. This shows how difficult it is for an ordinary person to want master's power. As for Naruto and Hashirama, they are born sage body. Hashirama's sage body belongs to the intermediate sage body. As long as it is slightly guided and controlled, it will not run away from time to time like Shigego's primary sage body. As for Naruto, Toki has checked it. The latter's body is actually almost reaching the standard of the primary sage body, which is why he can understand natural energy and understand sage mode so quickly. It stands to reason that although he will not run away at every turn like Shigego, but at least he will not always be in peace. But the problem is that he hasn't had a similar situation in more than 10 years. Advertisement. Why is this? In fact, the reason is very simple. It is related to Nine Tails. Nine Tails chakra seems to be the source of the sacred tree, but it actually comes from this land. Because the sacred tree grows by absorbing the energy of this world, Nine Tails is also an aggregate created by this energy through open black lens bracket yin and yang escape close black lens bracket. Therefore, whether it's Nine Tails or other tail beasts, they can absorb the energy between heaven and earth for their own use. This is why Nine Tails can condense chakra through meditation after chakra is exhausted. This is also the direct reason why Naruto has been in peace for so many years, and the fundamental reason why Nine Tails mode and Sage mode can be combined. After being confirmed, the Jiraiya trio were shocked again. Next second, without waiting for them to talk further, Nagato and the others finally made a move. Obviously, he didn't want to waste time anymore. CGDD. A footstep came from far and near from a hole in a wall next to it. Click. A hand stretched out directly from it and hit the edge of the dilapidated wall. Immediately afterwards, a figure appeared in Shiyu, another Shiyu. This person was the animal Dao who was kicked by Shiyu before. However, at this moment, Jiraiya's gaze on the animal road was condensed. I saw his eyes staring at Brood Dao's forehead, where there was a scab scar. Advertisement, and it was this scar that made Jiraiya finally know the true identity of Brood Dao. The man in front of him was not Nagato, who he thought had changed a lot, but a ninja who had fought him. The scar on his forehead is exactly what he left. The scar on his forehead was left by me. Undoubtedly, that is the Wind Demon clan. At the time I set foot on the road of travel, according to Big Toad Sage's prediction, he was the first ninja to attack me on the road. Seeing the situation in front of him, Shiyu felt it necessary to remind Jiraiya. It's just that what I don't understand is why he appeared here. Why did he get involved with pain? Perceiving Jiraiya's strength, Shenzuo Xianren said. Not to mention them, even Jiraiya himself is confused. This person is not Nagato at all, but a ninja who has fought against me. Thank you for reading this story at fictionzone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Hearing what Jiraiya said, Shenzuo Xianren and Jima Xianren, both of them, obviously didn't know the tricks. However, they didn't know, but Shiyu knew it all. Jiraiya also knows one thing in the words, that is, when he tortured the Who Man with 8 characters earlier, the latter told him that pain seemed to come from a mysterious family. Jiraiya, what's wrong with you, pervy sage, they're not human at all. Anyway, he will find out himself later. When Shiyu said this, the expressions of Jiraiya's 3 people were suddenly startled. Chapter 531 Chakra Transmitter, bound the enemy out of thin air. Pervy sage, they're not human at all. When Shiyu said this, the expressions of Jiraiya's 3 people were suddenly startled. Immediately afterwards, the same 3 words Jiraiya, Shenzuo Xianren and Jima Xianren spit out. Not human. Their voices were full of astonishment, and their faces showed incredible colors. They previously suspected that Nagato may be one of the 3 of the animal road, the human world and the hungry Kido, that is, the body. At first, the target they were targeting was the animal Dao. But now that the true identity of Beast Dao was known to Jiraiya, he ruled out this possibility. Therefore, he once thought that Yahiko might have taken Nagato's Rinnegan for some reason. In other words, at the previous moment, he thought that Yahiko might be the dominant player. But when Shiyu said this, he was undoubtedly telling them that the 6 pens in front of them were all puppets, and none of them were the main body. After some shock, Shenzuo Shenren took the lead to ask. Lil guy, are you sure? Nature? Shiyu nodded, and said, the reason why there's a trace of vitality in their bodies is because their bodies are quite well preserved. As long as some chakra moisture is given during the preservation period, the vitality of the body will not be completely lost. Without the relevant knowledge of Master's medical treatment, it is difficult to judge whether they are alive or dead. Hearing Shiyu's words, Jiraiya suddenly thought of something. Next second, his gaze suddenly shifted from the animal Dao to the other 5 pain, and then his eyes were filled with a deep consternation. Because he was shocked to find that he had seen all the other 4 pain except for the animal road and the heavenly road. At this moment, a low voice suddenly came out of Jiraiya's mouth. I know what pain really is. Advertisement, Jiraiya, what do you know? Shenzuo Xian said. As Shiyu said, the 6 of them are all manipulated puppets, because I know all 6 of them. If nothing happens, the manipulator should hide in the dark. It's just that I don't know how he manipulated 6 people. Through previous battles, Jiraiya knew that they did not act through the so-called chakra line. Needless to say, this is a brand new way of manipulation. When Shiyu heard this, he said directly, it's those black rods. Black stick? Shiyu explained the shock of Jiraiya's trio. Just now when I grabbed the black stick in Pen's hand, I found that there was a strong flow of chakra in it. If nothing else, they accepted chakra through this black stick. Hearing Shiyu's words, both Nagato and Xiaonan looked startled. Because Shiyu was right, these black rods inserted into Pain were chakra transmitters. Tiandao Pain's eyes condensed slightly and finally spoke again. Mr. Jiraiya, it seems that you already know my secret. However, you still can't escape today. In Nagato's view, even if Jiraiya knew his secret, it was definitely not his opponent. After clearly realizing the power of Rinnegan, he was confident in his own strength. And this is one of the reasons why he dared to call himself a god. When the voice fell, Nagato also did not wait for Jiraiya and others to respond, and immediately controlled Pen's 6 paths to attack Jiraiya and Shiyu. For flowers. Advertisement in his opinion, even if the other party had an extra helper, he could kill both of them. Obviously, Shiyu didn't give him much attention. But the next second, a strange scene appeared. I saw that attacking Pen, 5 of them were suspended in the air. To be precise, it was chained in the air. This shows that the strength of that person is definitely not weak. 0. Although only a Pain was dispatched to fight with him, the result was exactly the same as it is now. However, he was tightly choked by a big hand. Only the animal Dao survived. This scene suddenly made everyone's expressions startled, especially Nagato. Because they were bound, he recalled a man who fought him more than a year ago, who also used this method. But this is not the point is that he didn't even leave that person behind. A few days ago, because that person left a sentence when he left, saying that he would know his name soon. Thank you for reading this story at fictionzone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Big, at this moment, he could already be sure that the man who fought with him was the boy in front of him. When the name Takagawa Takiwa came into their minds from the mouths of Itachi and others, he was only skeptical. Originally, he wanted to go to Konoha to catch 9 tails and verify it by the way, but now it seems that it is no longer necessary. Because his younger brother, Tokiha Takikawa, to this day, this scene appeared in front of his eyes again, which would not let him be astonished. Chapter 532 Strong Young Man, stunning the audience. After recognizing that Shiba was the ninja who sneaked into Rain Shinobi Village that year, Nagato's eyes also became serious. According to the information he has collected, Shiyu is not even more than 16 years old now. But it was such a kid who actually retreated from under his hands more than a year ago. Can't this shock him? You know, it was less than 2 years since Shiyu became a ninja at that time. Although he was trapped by Tokuha's magnet-style latte, at this time, Nagato did not panic at all. Because he has Hungry Kido of ninjutsu that he can absorb. Although he knew Shiba Master open black lens bracket magnet style close black lens bracket 730, did not expect Shiba to be the ninja back then. Different ninjas have realized the same blood succession limit, but it does not mean that their ninjutsu is the same. Just like Shiba and third case gauge, the magnet style they displayed are quite different. After a short astonishment, Nagato directly controlled the Hungry Kido and absorbed the magnet-style chakra attached to their bodies. There are no accidents. Tien Dao and the other 4 pen got rid of Shiyu's bondage, but only one did not. He is the animal way, because he was not bound by Shiyu's magnet style, but by Shiyu's neck firmly. The reason Shiyu didn't use magnet style on him was not because Shiyu's control amount reached the upper limit, but because there was no ironwork on his body. Without iron products, magnet-style latte will not work. Seeing this scene, Jiraiya pointed to the Hungry Kido and reminded him. Shiyu, that guy can absorb all ninjutsu. After hearing this, Shiyu asked knowingly, this should be Rinnegan's power? Advertisement, Jiraiya was taken aback for a moment, and then asked, your kid actually knows Rinnegan. I saw it a year ago, and then I checked some information to find out. Shiyu is a serious Kaido, but in fact what he said is not all true. He did see Rinnegan a year ago, but he didn't check any information at all. For those who have watched anime, there is nothing he doesn't know. The reason for saying this is that I just don't want Jiraiya to keep asking unboring questions. Oh. Jiraiya nodded, but the next second his eyes froze, and suddenly thought of something. He immediately asked. What did you say? Have you met a year ago? Are you trying to tell me that you met these guys back then? For Jiraiya's words, Shen Zuo Xianren and Jima Xianren also showed consternation. Obviously, they didn't expect Shiyu to come into contact with such a terrifying existence at that time. Of course, Shiyu just said he had seen it. If they had learned that Shiyu had fought with one of Pen and had retreated all over, they would definitely be shocked. Because at that time, Shiba had only become a ninja for more than a year. It took more than a year to play against a cage-level powerhouse. How pervert is necessary to do this? Anyway, they dare not imagine. Not only the 3 of them, but even Xiao Nan, who was standing behind Tien Dao, was incomprehensible. Obviously, she didn't believe what Shiyu said. Advertisement. You know, pain has rarely appeared in the eyes of the world over the years, and those who have seen him have basically been killed. Next second, Xiao Nan seemed to think of something and asked Tien Dao. Pain, this boy shouldn't be needless to say. Nagato mentioned it to him more than a year ago. Afterwards, she launched an investigation, but the result was undoubtedly nothing. Because there are very few people in the entire Ninja World master Itachi open black lens bracket magnet style close black lens bracket. Even though they paid attention to obsolete at first, they quickly eliminated him. How can an imp who has just become genin for more than a year have the ability to fight Pen? Because even if it's just a pen, it is an existence with cage-level combat power. Seeing this scene now naturally made Koku re-examine the boy named Takikawa Takiwa in front of him. Before Pain could answer, Shiyu was the first to say. A year ago, I passed by here on a mission, and I sneaked into it because I was curious about 3.3, and I even fought against this person at that time. During the words, Shiyu's eyes fell on the animal Dao in his hand. Although Shiyu was answering Jiraiya's question, he undoubtedly gave the answer Xiao Nan wanted. At this moment, Nagato also gave an answer. I can't remember this chakra wrong, he was the one who played against me back then. As soon as Tien Dao Pain said this, everyone's faces showed horror. Obviously, they never thought that a teenager who had just become genin for more than a year would have such strength. Chapter 533 Since it's here, save your life. I can't remember this chakra wrong, he was the one who played against me back then. Hearing what Tien Dao Pain said, Xiao Nan's eyes towards Shiyu finally showed a touch of attention. Before, she just thought Shiyu was an ordinary teenager. Although Shiyu showed a faster speed than her, in her opinion, the latter is just faster, nothing more. But it is indeed different now. The strength of a person who can retreat safely from Pain's men is definitely not simple. And, during this period of time, the members of their Shao organization successively lost Shiyu seem to have participated in it. Coupled with the information about Mangekyo Sharingan revealed by Itachi and Kisame, as well as the superb medical ninjutsu that the latter has just shown, she has to re-examine the boy in front of her. Jiraiya was quite surprised when he learned that Shiyu had fought against Pain. Even if it is just one, it is not something ordinary people can do. Just before Jiraiya was shocked, Shiyu spoke again. Pervy Sage. Now that I have figured out the details of this, Shao, organization leader, it is almost time to withdraw. Shiyu's idea is very simple, he doesn't want to do unnecessary things. The task of the system was only to let him save Jiraiya, but did not let him defeat or kill Pen Six Paths. Furthermore, the battle between Sasuke and Itachi is about to begin. Where there is still a task waiting for him to complete, naturally we can't waste time here. Retreat? Advertisement Jiraiya murmured, obviously unwilling to withdraw like this. In his opinion, Nagato is likely to be the one who brought changes to the ninja world. Moreover, it is still a negative change, therefore, he wants to kill it here. If not, he can completely withdraw with his strength. As long as a powerful ninja is not determined to die, it is basically difficult for opponents to keep it. Of course, the difference in strength is too great an exception. Seeing Jiraiya still hesitating, Shiyu said, "Now that Pen 6 paths are all dispatched, we should be able to defeat it with the strength of the two of us. But the time is definitely not short, furthermore, this is their home court. The long battle is obviously not good for us." Of course, this is not the point. The point is that Sasuke has already found Itachi. It is estimated that the battle between the two will start soon. I have to go there. Hear Shiyu's words, Shenzuo Shenren said, "Yes, Jiraiya. In the face of 6 pennies, your odds of winning are quite small. It's better to retreat first and then consider the long-term plan." I agree with the proposal of Xiao Yu and the dead ghost. Immortal Ji Ma also agreed. Although Shi Yu said that he and Jiraiya could beat Pen 6 paths together, but in their opinion, this is just the best situation. Obviously, they think the probability of losing between the two is higher. Because in their opinion, Shiyu is absolutely impossible to be better than Jiraiya in Sage Mode. Advertisement Gang O, Jiraiya, is completely crushed by the party. Even without knowing the ability of the other party, it is enough to prove that there is a certain disparity in the strength of the two sides. The reason for this is the Hungry Kido. With his existence, all ninjutsu is vain, making people feel that there is basically no possibility of winning. After some analysis, they felt that the retreat was the most reasonable. Since it's here, just save your life. Thank you for reading this story at fictionzone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Now that they have obtained important information, they must pass it back to Konoha. In addition, they have 6 angles of view. It is too difficult to win by physical skills. After a lesson, the other party was prepared for a long time. As a result, their 733, the toad singing Unmovable King, basically cannot be launched successfully. If they knew this idea, they would vomit blood in anger. Want to escape? How could it be so easy? As for illusion. Seeing that Shiyu and the others seemed to want to retreat, Nagato immediately controlled the 5 pens to surround them. As for Nagato, after some calm thinking, Jiraiya felt that Shiyu's words were not unreasonable. Today you are all going to die here. When they figured out a way to deal with Pen's 6 paths, it would not be too late to kill him. Furthermore, the opposite side of the other's physical skills is not weaker than Jiraiya. But they never thought that the reason Shiyu would retreat was not because of Pen's 6 paths, but because he didn't want to do unnecessary things. Chapter 534 Instant Body Technique, Time and Space Ninjutsu. Ah, Shiyu snorted coldly, and then said, "I want to go. It is estimated that no one in this world can stop me. For the face of senior sister Xiaonan, I will let you go for the time being today." Shiyu's words can't be said to be low, because he was going to retreat. But even so, he still did not forget to associate this with Xiaonan. Obviously, for this cold goddess, he is not going to let it go. As predicted, after Xiaonan heard Shiyu's words, her expression was also startled, because she never expected Shiyu to say such a sentence. You know, they can be regarded as enemies, of course. She didn't feel much moved because of this, just as it was due to Toki's character. Because Jiraiya's temperament is like this, therefore, it is reasonable for Shiyu to have this aspect. As for Nagato, there is no unnecessary nonsense. He obviously won't give Shiyu any chance to escape first. However, what made him a little surprised was that he found that he had lost control of the animal way. It seems that chakra, which was passed on to the animal road, has been in disorder and cannot control its actions. In this regard, he knew that Shiyu should have done something. Since the latter knew that he used a black stick to accept chakra, he should have figured out a certain way to deal with it. At this point, he can only control the remaining 5 pen attacks. Shoo, shoo, shoo. Advertisement seeing the 5 pens attacking him and Jiraiya in a siege, the speed was extremely fast. Upon seeing this, Shiyu said very confidently, "I said, you can't keep me." When the voice fell, Shiyu's other hand was directly placed on Jiraiya's body. Shiyu seemed to have a deep look at Jiraiya, who immediately understood, and there was no meaning to fight in an instant. At the same time, the 5 pen had also arrived in front of Shiyu and the others. It seemed that when the two of Shiyu were about to be touched, a weird scene appeared just as the 1,000 fishing shots. 5 pen's fists all fell through, because Shiyu and Jiraiya disappeared out of thin air. This scene shocked Nagato and Xiaonan. This result was something they never expected, and he never expected Shiyu to possess such a weird ninjutsu. After a brief shock, Xiaonan spoke first. "Is it shattering technique?" "Not so much," Nagato replied, and then let the most perceptive human beings perceive the surroundings. Immediately afterwards, his brows frowned instantly. Because he found that not only did the atmosphere of Shiyu and Jiraiya disappear, but even the entire Rain Shinobi village did not have any unusual fluctuations. Obviously, Shiyu and Jiraiya have completely disappeared in Rain Shinobi village. From this, it can be inferred that Shiyu's performance just now was definitely not a shimmering technique. Upon seeing this, Xiaonan said, "Advertisement, they shouldn't be far away." I immediately went to block the exits of the village. "Need not. Maybe that kid escaped from me by this means. There are 2 possibilities right now." "Song, I think so too. Because you want to achieve that level, Space Ninjutsu's attainments must reach the high level expected. Thank you for reading this story at fictionzone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running." Nagato affirmed and continued, "I remember that Mr. Jiraiya also got involved in Space Ninjutsu. as his disciple, it is reasonable to know this kind of ninjutsu. Upon hearing this, Xiao Nan's face suddenly showed a touch of shock. However, they are destined to be in vain, because at this moment, Toki and Jiraiya are no longer Rain Shinobi village, but in Konoha, a country far away. So, the first possibility is the greatest. Although the scale of Rain Shinobi village is not large, Jiao covers an area of nearly 8,000 square kilometers. It shouldn't be possible for them to escape in an instant? Probably. Could it be that what the kid just performed was space ninjutsu? First, the two of them are hiding in a certain space. Nagato stopped Xiao Nan, who wanted to act, and then said a little unwillingly, I can't perceive the location of the animal road, or they are far away from us, or they are not in this space. Xiao Nan thought for a while, then said, second, they have now escaped from Rain Shinobi village. When the voice fell, Nagato controlled the 5 pen in Xiao Nan to survey the surrounding carefully. Chapter 535 Unbelievable, Son of Destiny. Muiying village, the roof of Hokage. There was a slight tremor in the space somewhere, and 2 figures suddenly appeared. One of the figures stood on each shoulder on each side of a frog, a male and a female, both old frogs. Needless to say, this person is Jiraiya. For Shiyu's Flying Thunder God technique, Jiraiya didn't feel much consternation. Because he had heard of Master Shiyu's ninjutsu before, although he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he believed in this fact. This is also the look of relief after he and Shiyu looked at each other just now. In his opinion, Shiyu has surpassed 4 Hokage in Flying Thunder God technique attainments. Because it was such a long distance directly, even Minato couldn't do it. Moreover, Shiyu did not look tired at this moment. Obviously, this time the space jump did not consume much to him, which confirmed the amazing amount of chakra of Shiyu 737 from the side. Originally, Jiraiya was a little surprised, but it was relieved when he thought of Chakra, who seemed to have a tail beast in his body. In this way, his chakra volume must reach a level that is astonishing as a human being, which was confirmed when he first practiced the summoning technique. Anyway, although Jiraiya didn't have much consternation about this, Shenzuo Xianren and Jima Xianren looked at their surroundings and were indeed shocked. This is Konoha. Devil, am I not dazzled? Hearing what the two said, Jiraiya said. Boss, big sister. You all taught the guy Minato. Needless to say, you should also know what's going on. Advertisement. You mean, Shenzuo Immortal wanted to speak and stop, CGDD, and then he and Shiyu looked aside with the eyes of Immortal Jima, and their eyes were full of incredible colors. In the next second, the same 5 words were suddenly spit out from the mouths of both. Flying Thunder God technique, Jiraiya nodded, and then said, I was very surprised when I learned about this news. If I hadn't known that Shiyu had a talent that surpassed ordinary people, I wouldn't believe this fact. After all, I only saw it with my own eyes today. At the beginning, Jiraiya felt that Shiyu had the possibility of surpassing 4 Hokage, but now it seems that the latter already possesses this ability. What's worse is an opportunity. As long as Shiyu can do something that shocks ninja, his reputation will directly surpass 4 Hokage. Because of this, his eyes when he looked at Shiyu were full of expectation. After hearing Jiraiya's answer, the eyes of Immortal Shenzuo and Immortal Jima when they looked at Shiyu changed again. Time and space ninjutsu. This is an extremely difficult master's ninjutsu, and it is good for ordinary people to touch some thresholds. But what about Shiyu? In just 2 years, he has actually cultivated to such a high level. With his shocked chakra, I am afraid it is difficult to find an existence that can intercept him in this world. At this moment, they finally made it obvious why Shiyu was so sure that Pain's 6 paths could not keep him. Because even Pen is also Master Itachi, space ninjutsu, but as long as its chakra amount is less than time U, it will eventually be unable to stop it. In their opinion, there is only one way to stop Shiyu now. That is space enchantment ninjutsu. Moreover, it must be laid out in advance. Advertisement otherwise, it would be difficult to keep it at the speed of Flying Thunder God technique. Brat. Unexpectedly, you have grown to this point. It really surprised me, Shenzuo Immortal said with feelings. Yes. Furthermore, Immortal Jima agreed, and his eyes were full of light when he looked at Shiyu. She suddenly thought of something and exclaimed, this moment. Even though Shiyu does not have the so-called Eye of 6 Paths, he is born with the Tail Beast chakra. Next second. If Shiyu is really the son of prophecy in the mouth of Big Toad Sage, then the ninja world will undoubtedly develop in a better direction. This alone is enough to see Shiyu's extraordinary. Obviously, they didn't think of this before, because Nagato has Rinnegan. They felt that the latter was the most likely to be the son of prophecy. Combining a series of things, Shiyu does have a great possibility. And this is undoubtedly what they are most happy to comment on. If the prophetic son of the old dementia man who can change the ninja world really exists, I think Xiao Yu is more likely. But thinking about it now, I found that Shiyu's talent was even more amazing. The latter can rely on their own efforts to successfully understand natural energy, and use it rationally. Thank you for reading this story at fictionzone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. As soon as Immortal Jima said this, Jiraiya and Immortal Shenzuo were both startled. The eyes of the 3 people looking at Shiyu changed again, and it was different from the previous 2 changes. Chapter 536 The Invitation of Mount Myoboku. Hoshigaki Kisame. After some consternation, after Jiraiya thanked both Shensaku and Shima, he asked them to return to Mount Myoboku first. Before leaving, the two also invited Shiyu to visit Mount Myoboku. In this regard, Shiyu did not refuse, however, his answer was to wait until he had dealt with some of the things at hand before going. Shiyu was not politely refusing this, but now he really had to deal with things. After all, this matter is related to the 6th reward of the system. Not sloppy, you can go to Mount Myoboku anytime, in no hurry. For the 3 sacred sites in this legend, apart from Ryuchi Cave, the other 2 sacred sites to Kiwa are all unseen. So, when he has enough time, he will definitely go there. Maybe it will be the same as in Ryuchi Cave, there will be different gains. As for Shiyu's creation of Sage Mode, Jiraiya and the 3 did not ask, so he didn't say anything. As the immortals Shenzuo and Jima left, Shiyu and Jiraiya simply said a few words and went downstairs to find Tsunade. Obviously, they want to inform everything about Rain Shinobi Village. At the same time, Rain Shinobi Village, where the tower borders the sea. Pain 6 Paths and Xiao Nan are still waiting here, their eyes surveying the surroundings from time to time. As if any wind and grass here can't escape their eyes. However, they are destined to get nothing. They have waited a lot here, but there has never been a trace of spatial fluctuations from beginning to end. Advertisement, they are not fools, and they have discovered the problem after waiting for a long time. Because of this, the heavenly Tao that had been silent for a long time finally spoke. Xiao Nan, don't guard anymore. Do you think they escaped? For Xiao Nan's doubts, Nagato is Kaido. From the current situation, this is a consistent explanation. How come? How could that little devil master have such advanced ninjutsu? Obviously, Xiao Nan didn't believe that Shiyu was able to master space ninjutsu to such a high level at a young age. I don't quite believe it either. At first I thought he was just a way to hide in space by the master, but now it seems that I still underestimate him. If I didn't guess wrong, his ninjutsu was completely defeated by the Gaie Fei, and it could even be said to be even better in terms of speed. As soon as Nagato said this, Xiao Nan's face suddenly appeared astonished. Obito masters, space ninjutsu, makes them quite tricky, but now Nagato is saying that master time use method does not belong to the latter. Even, the speed is even worse. Seeing that Xiao Nan still had this doubt, Nagato said again. If I didn't guess wrong, what the kid did just now was 4th Hokage's famed stunt. You mean, Flying Thunder God technique, Xiao Nan said in surprise. Tien Dao nodded, and then said, it is estimated that there is only this extraordinary ninjutsu that can slip under my nose in an instant. Now it seems that this kid is really extraordinary. It's no wonder that Sasori, Hidan, Kakuzu, and Idera were all on the scene when they fell. It seems that he played a big role in it. For flowers. Advertisement, otherwise, with their strength, they won't die so fast. Hearing Nagato's words, Xiao Nan nodded undeniably, and then said instead. Then going to Konoha hunting and borrowing 9 tails will continue as planned? Although it will be a little troublesome. But because of this, it is even more urgent to borrow 9 tails from hunting. I can't make them fully prepared. After the words fell, Nagato looked in a direction, and then said, I don't know if the matter of Itachi has been handled, but 8 tails is still waiting for them to hunt. In the direction that Tiandao Pain looked at, there were 4 figures galloping fast at this time. They are none other than Sasuke's snake team. Next second. Shanlin's eyes condensed, and he looked to a direction ahead and reminded out loud. What a powerful chakra, moreover, it's fast, attention, coming here. The few Sasuke who heard that they were puzzled, obviously didn't know who the strong would be coming towards them. Just between their suspicions, a slight noise suddenly came out. Boom. Immediately afterwards, a man stood at the top of the telephone pole in front of them. This person has a face, skin color and sharp teeth similar to that of a mackerel, and at first glance it feels very unfriendly. Upon seeing this, Sasuke's group of 4 immediately stopped. For their man, Korin and Shigogo may not know each other, but Sasuke and Suizuki know the identity of the latter. The second owner of the big sword Samahada, Hoshigaki Kisame. Chapter 537 2 Ninja Swords. See you brothers. After Hoshigaki Kisame appeared, Sasuke and others explained that they became vigilant. Next second, I saw Kisame carried Samahada on his shoulders, facing Sasuke and others. Except for Sasuke, everyone else stops here, Kisame said again when Suizuki and Shigogo seemed to disagree. This is what Itachi meant. Hearing that, Suizuki and Shigego both looked at Sasuke. Obviously, they are waiting for Sasuke's decision. Shiyu is not here, they are naturally headed by Sasuke. For this request, Sasuke did not refuse, 743, because he originally wanted to understand this by himself. Because this is his personal grievance, no problem. I took the team together to prevent someone from obstructing the heads-up match between me and him. This is just what I want. Hearing Sasuke's words, Shuei, who has always loved to do things but couldn't stay idle, said. Whether it takes so much trouble, I think it will be faster to go together. As soon as Shuei said this, Sasuke didn't wait for Sasuke to answer, and Kisame in front of him said it first. I don't want to fight with you, but if you two insist on going there, I don't mind moving your muscles and bones. Shuei, Shigeo. This is the grievance between me and him, you two are waiting for me here. Originally, Shuei was just saying this casually, but now Sasuke himself said that, he was too embarrassed to say anything. As a man, he still understands some things, advertisement. Immediately afterwards, Sasuke crossed the Kisame line of defense directly under their gaze and headed towards the base of the Uchiha clan. From beginning to end, Shigeo's face didn't have much waves. Even if it was Kisame in front of him, he couldn't get the slightest interest. But because he is not interested does not mean that Shuei is not, because he vowed to gather all the 7 ninja swords. He stared at Kisame with interest. To be precise, it was the big knife in the latter's hand. The big sword Samahata is a special existence among the 7 ninja swords. The origin of this ninja sword has a lot to do with 3 tails. Shuei stared at Kisame for a while and finally stopped being silent. Hoshigaki Kisame, and that big knife Samahata. Hearing this, Kisame was taken aback for a moment and couldn't help but lock his gaze on Shuei's body. Seeing that Kisame didn't recognize herself at the first time, Shui Yu reported herself directly. Have you forgotten? I am the younger brother of Guideng Man Yu, Guideng Shui Yu. Oh, Kisame murmured, then said, you have changed. Oh no, it should be said that you have grown up. No wonder I didn't recognize you in the first place. Kisame saw Suigetsu when he was a child. In addition to being a senior, more importantly, it was Suigetsu's brother, Guideng Manue. Because both of them are the 2nd generation, 7 ninja swordsmen. Shuei looked at Kisame's eyes burning, and there was a flash of warfare in his eyes. Without the slightest evasiveness, I directly spit out the thoughts in my heart. Advertisement. It's kind of boring to wait for Sasuke to come back here. In order to kill time, can you please play with me? Senior Kisame, Shuei, who was speaking, directly stretched out his hand and took out the beheading broadsword behind him, looking eager to try. Upon seeing this, Kisame's mouth evoked a smile. With the sound of 3.3 footsteps falling, Sasuke also arrived here smoothly. When Shuei spoke, there was already a fighting spirit in her eyes. Obviously, no one could stop this battle. Well, let me cut you down a little bit. You are different from your brother, are you naughty? Uchiha base, in the central hall. Don't worry, I'm just discussing it with the senior. This was the first sentence spoken by Itachi after the two met, and it was also the first voice that opened the deadlock between the two. At this moment, sitting right in front of him was a man who looked a little similar to him. Undoubtedly, he was Uchiha. Shuei, is it okay if you don't listen to Sasuke? When the voice fell, Kisame also waved Samahata forward on his shoulders, which undoubtedly accepted the challenge of Shuei. How far can your Sharingan see? The latter's eyes are not as fierce and hateful as Sasuke. But, thank you for reading this story at fictionzone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Seeing this scene, Shigego, who has always been taciturn, finally spoke. Clatter. At the same time, Chapter 538 Body Art Showdown, the meaning of those 2 fingers. How far can your Sharingan see? It's the way you died, Itachi. This is Sasuke's answer to Itachi, which shows how deeply he hates Itachi. The way I died. Itachi's eyes closed slightly between the words, as if he had already expected this answer. Or maybe it's because this is part of his plan. Next second, Itachi opened his eyes again, and his figure had already come to Sasuke's side. Immediately after 26, a word was also spit out from his mouth. In that case, show it to me. With the fall of the last word, the battle between them finally started at this moment. Itachi also took great pains. When he came up, he didn't have any ninjutsu or illusion, but used physical skills to confront him. The purpose is self-evident, that is, I want to see my younger brother, who was needed with one hand 2 years ago, can now grow to existence that can compete with him. There is no doubt that he is assessing Sasuke in all aspects. In addition to Grandmaster Ninjutsu for a powerful ninja, close combat physical skills are also indispensable. In addition, the reason why both of them have Sharingan is that they have discovered physical skills to a height that is difficult for ordinary people to reach. Judging from the battle between the two, advertisement. It has to be said that Sasuke's physical skills have grown to a very powerful level now. Even though there is still a gap with Itachi, it is almost the same. Of course, this may have something to do with Itachi's current physical condition. At the moment of the hedge, Itachi directly caught a gap in Sasuke by virtue of years of fighting experience. Grabbing the collar behind his head with one hand, he threw it out. In desperation, Sasuke used the pheasant sword to hit the ground and adjusted his body slightly, so that he could land his feet on the ground. Clatter. Rustle. That huge force also caused Sasuke's feet to draw 2 invisible marks along the ground, and a lot of smoke was rolled up along the way. After stopping his figure, Sasuke also stopped talking nonsense. When the smoke dissipated, his hands also formed Dao Yin style. Next second, there were countless neighing sounds from his left hand, as if 1,000 birds were crying. What is even more frightening is that the thunder spreads from the palm of the palm and continues to wreak havoc. Needless to say, this is lightning-style Chidori. Bang! With a slight sound, Sasuke's figure suddenly disappeared. Advertisement boom. The Itachi with bloodline on the corner of his mouth looked at the no longer immature face in front of him. Although there was no wave in his eyes, his heart was extremely relieved. Except for the index finger and the middle finger, the other 3 fingers are slightly bent. On the ground. In his opinion, this battle is basically over 743. Itachi, one last thing I want to ask you. Under Sasuke's stunned gaze, he nodded toward his forehead. Not only that, the pheasant sword in his right hand also pierced into Itachi's chest. Thank you for reading this story at fictionzone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. It just appeared in front of Itachi, without any nonsense, among which the Chidori fell on Itachi without any suspense. At first he thought he would go through a bitter battle, but he didn't expect victory to be as simple as that. At this moment, a touch of joy appeared in Sasuke's crazy eyes, and Kakuzu's mouth set off a sharp arc, which was a performance of years of revenge. The next moment, "You have become stronger." Hearing that, most of the madness in Sasuke's eyes dissipated, and another kind of firmness followed. As for Sasuke's words, Itachi didn't even hear it, but habitually stretched out his right hand. The powerful force directly overwhelmed Itachi to the ground. The speed of the violent is so terrifying. Chapter 539 Illusion Showdown, have the upper hand? Seeing this habitual movement of Itachi, Sasuke was taken aback. However, just when Itachi's two fingers were about to touch Sasuke's forehead, he took the initiative to avoid it. When Sasuke turned his head, he was shocked to find that Itachi was still sitting on the main seat of the main hall, and even his posture had not changed. Especially the latter pair of open black lens bracket Sharingan close black lens bracket, in which an inexplicable power of private ownership is flowing. Upon seeing this, Sasuke immediately realized something. He turned his head and looked at the weasel who was lying on the ground and was pierced by the pheasant sword. At this time, the latter had turned into crows and dispersed. This scene is not much different from another stronghold in the country of Sichuan a few days ago, even the words are the same. I said the same thing before, and the same with birds. Is it the same illusion? Itachi in the seat looked at all this calmly, as if he was the master. What do you want to know? Although this is not the last question, let you ask it. Obviously, Itachi was going to tell Sasuke what he should know before he died generously, and those who shouldn't know will undoubtedly go with him. Itachi's attitude made Sasuke quite unhappy. However, at this moment, an inexplicable color flashed in his eyes, and he seemed to disagree with Itachi. The next second, a penetrating sound suddenly sounded. Advertisement laugh. The sound is very subtle, it is the sound of a sharp blade penetrating an object. At this time, the Itachi on the seat showed another sword on its chest, with scarlet blood dripping from the tip of the sword. Following the vision, another Sasuke can be seen behind Itachi's seat. And this sword that pierced through the chest of Weasel was firmly held in his hand. Needless to say, this is Sasuke's successor. At this moment, Sasuke, who was standing right in front of Itachi, was not a real body, but an afterimage of illusion. He knows Itachi is good at illusion, so he kept a hand earlier. After more than 2 years of hard work, he has naturally grown. At this moment, the two are engaged in an illusion contest. After the master took the initiative, Sasuke's voice rang again. I'll say it again, I have one last thing I want to ask you. That's what I said just now, B********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** not his chest that was pierced. You deliberately don't attack my vitals. Until you answer my question, your chest will always feel pain. After responding to Itachi's question, Sasuke continued, the third person, isn't it yours, Shao, organizing the guy with the mask? Advertisement. After calming down, Itachi said slowly. Why do you want to know this? Of course, it doesn't matter if it's just a simple face-to-face meeting. Because of the person Obito, he hasn't even figured it out. This made him feel a little uneasy, because after killing you, it's his turn next. But now that he is not dead, the latter has actually been in contact with Sasuke. It's easy. Good W. Sound. Because he didn't expect Sasuke to have contact with Obito, and it seemed that the latter still exposed something. But the problem is that Sasuke seems to be skeptical, which means that the two are more than just meeting each other. Between the words, Sasuke's eyes were firm, with a touch of brutality. And who is he? Hearing this, Itachi finally had a trace of movement on Gujin Webo's face. Because their previous agreement was to not move Konoha and Sasuke while he was alive. This result makes Itachi very upset. Chapter 540 Uchiha Madara. Reality and Illusion. Because after killing you, it's his turn next. As for Sasuke's words, Itachi murmured softly, as if he didn't believe Sasuke could do it. Kill him? Sasuke did not comment on the doubts raised by Itachi. He had a brief encounter with Obito. He knew that the latter was very strong, but he couldn't tell how strong he was. But no matter how strong Obito is, he will find a way to kill him. After some thoughts flashed in his mind, Sasuke said slowly. At the moment you killed all the clansmen, you mentioned to me the existence of one another. I don't know if you were intentional or unintentional. But since he was not killed in your hands, he should be the one who assisted you. Although Sasuke has known something from Obito, he obviously wants to get the final confirmation from Itachi. 750. Why are you sure that this person is my helper, instead of running away from me? It's easy. No matter how powerful you were at the time, it is impossible to kill all the elites of the police force on your own. You found it. Itachi's tone was slightly stunned. I don't know if it is true or false. After getting confirmation from Itachi, Sasuke continued to ask. Who is that masked man? Hearing Sasuke's words, Itachi didn't answer immediately, as if he was reminiscing or thinking. Advertisement. It seems that he can't be sure about it. After a brief silence, he still gave the answer Obito once told him. He is Uchiha Madara. Hearing this name, Sasuke suddenly remembered something. That was when he and Moyu and his group of 6 were briefly practicing in Orochimaru's stronghold. He once spied on Naruto's spiritual world. He was out of curiosity at the beginning, but it was also because of this curiosity that he knew the name of a person. Needless to say, he is Uchiha Madara. He vaguely remembered what Nine Tails said to him when the eyes were staring at him. The power of the eyes, and chakra, which is more evil than me, is exactly the same as Uchiha Madara in the past. Itachi ignored Sasuke's astonishment but continued. He is one of the founders of Konoha Shinobi Village and the first man to learn Mangekyo Sharingan. Founder? Sasuke muttered, apparently unaware of these things. However, this is understandable. After all, Madara was defeated because of political disagreements, first Hokage. That's why. The facts about him in the village, CGDD, were deliberately covered up, and almost no one knew it, even in the Uchiha clan, only a few high-level officials knew it. According to you, he should have died long ago. Are you kidding me? To Sasuke's excitement, Itachi was still calm, as if there was nothing in this world that could make his eyes ripple. Advertisement, Madara is still alive, believe it or not. Don't talk nonsense. Everyone relies on their own knowledge and ideas, and is bound by these things, and calls these things reality. But in fact, whether it is knowledge or ideas, it is difficult to say clearly, and the so-called reality is very likely to be an illusion. What do you want to say in the end? Sasuke yelled, and was puzzled by Itachi's babbling words. In other words, he is not in the mood to understand at the moment. For Sasuke's rant, Itachi said indifferently, Madara is dead, that's just your thoughts. Like you before, think of me as a caring brother. Ha ha, Sasuke sneered, and then said, what happened back then, when I was young, I did think that it was a phantom. I really want to think that it's some kind of powerful illusion, but the problem is. At this point, Sasuke stopped suddenly. He seemed to have thought of something, and countless pictures flashed through his mind, recalling tragic scenes. Next second, a hysterical anger suddenly yelled from his throat, resounding through the space. That's reality. Chapter 541 Toward the Darkness, the Shrine Stone Monument. That's reality. The Sasuke in the words was crazy, and his eyes were cold. Immediately afterwards, Sasuke's eyes locked to the rear for an instant, and his left hand suddenly protruded, releasing a beam of lightning. That is the Chidori flow, a derivative of Chidori. Now my eyes are different from before, and my Sharingan can already see through illusions. For Sasuke's words, Itachi is still faintly Kaido. Humph, you are still so stubborn, I'll listen to this sentence for now. With the fall of Itachi's words, Sasuke's Chidori has already hit a seat. This seat is where Itachi did, and Itachi sits on it unharmed at this time. At this moment, Sasuke's 26 high voice sounded again. I don't need to accompany you in acting again, do I? Immediately afterwards, the ferret that was pierced by his pheasant sword in front of Sasuke suddenly disappeared at this moment. There is no doubt that this is transformed by illusion. However, even though Sasuke saw through the illusion twice, Itachi's voice was still flat, as if everything was in the master. However, you shouldn't have the same eyes as me. Regarding Itachi's words, Sasuke can naturally hear what eyes the former refers to. Wanwa Sharingan, advertisement without Shiyu, he obviously couldn't have it. But the current Itachi obviously didn't know about this, and this was the surprise Shiyu, and Itachi said. Humph. Then use your Mangekyo Sharingan, now I am not afraid of you. You still have real confidence. Itachi murmured, then said, open black lens bracket Mangekyo Sharingan close black lens bracket. This kind of eyes are especially important. From the moment you learn, these eyes will move towards the dark forever. The more you use it, you will gradually be sealed. Sasuke, who heard this, did not exclaim, but replied directly. Simply put, you will lose the light, what's the meaning? Sasuke exclaimed, obviously not aware of the side effects of Mangekyo Sharingan. Or in other words, Shiyu didn't tell him, and this is part of his own consideration, because he is not a member of the Uchiha clan. Therefore, he naturally did not disclose this important information in advance. Furthermore, as long as Sasuke meets Itachi, there is no need for him to talk nonsense. Therefore, he is too lazy to say, otherwise, he would have to think of some words to explain afterwards. He obviously wouldn't do such a troublesome thing. It means, Mangekyo will lose its light one day. Blindness? Sasuke grumbled, and then said, is this the price that must be paid in order to gain the power to control Nine Tails? Advertisement, humph. It seems that I have already visited the stone monument of the shrine as I said. Hearing Itachi mention this matter, Sasuke continued to ask. Madara, who the hell is? The first man to tame Nine Tails with his eyes, also a man who will never be wiped out. Moreover, he is still my partner, furthermore, he is the only man who has solved Mangekyo Sharingan, another secret. That is Uchiha Madara. After hearing Itachi's words, Sasuke was completely shocked. He did not expect that this male 750 named Uchiha Madara was not only mysterious, but also so powerful that he felt a little incredible. Uchiha Madara? Mangekyo Sharingan, another secret? Sasuke muttered a few words and continued to ask, apart from the pupil power that can tame the Nine Tails demon fox, what is the secret? Another secret, and the most important secret, the most important first secret, what the hell is it? Quickly tell me. At this moment, Sasuke's tone was a little hurried, but also a bit tough. Upon seeing this, Itachi said calmly, never mind. Since you are also the Uchiha clan, I will tell you something. This is related to the history of the Uchiha clan. Chapter 542 The Secret of Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. This is related to the history of the Uchiha clan. Madara also had a brother before, Besides, it's also a younger brother. They have competed with each other since they were young to improve their relationship. After going through war after war, they both awakened Sharingan. Gradually, they became a special presence in the clan. Their continuous fighting made the pupil power continue to grow stronger, and eventually both of them possessed Mangekyo Sharingan. This is unprecedented in the history of the Uchiha clan. In the end, the two brothers used their pupil power to rule the Uchiha clan, and Madara, the older brother, became the leader. This kind of life was going well, but his body began to change. You must have guessed this kind of mutation. It is the step towards the dark that I just mentioned to you. The more you use it, you will be sealed up until you lose the light. Undoubtedly, this is the end of Mangekyo Sharingan. Getting a strong pupil power comes at the cost that the power will seal itself forever and lose its light. Madara tried various methods to get herself back to light, but they were all in vain and there was no improvement. At that moment, he felt desperate. However, Madara, who was fascinated by the power of Mangekyo Sharingan, in order to pursue the light, finally locked her hope on her younger brother. Yes, it just took away his brother's eyes. This method is indeed effective. Madara has regained light, and those eyes will never self-seal or lose light again. Advertisement: my younger brother's eyes have got a new host, and a new pair of eyes is created by fusion with Madara's own power. That is, Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. There is basically no problem with what Itachi said, but there is one point in which he has concealed the truth, or he does not understand the truth. That is, Madara did not forcefully take Izuna's eyes. Let alone Madara and Izuna, the relationship between the two brothers is extremely good. It is either brother control or brokon. The point is that Izuna died before Madara was blind. In a battle between the Uchiha clan and the Senju clan, Izuna died at the hands of second Hokage Senju Tobirama. Therefore, there are only two possibilities. Either Izuna dedicated his eyes to Madara before he died, or later Madara's eyes were about to become blind and had to be transplanted with Izuna's eyes. The reason why Itachi said this was that he did not understand the truth. It is that after Madara was left the Uchiha clan, everything about him was covered up and even rewritten. Otherwise, it is impossible for Sasuke to even know who Madara is. Another possibility is that Itachi lied. The purpose is to prevent Sasuke's eyes from being sealed, thus losing light, so that his death will be more valuable. This commentary is undoubtedly a reminder to Sasuke that one can provide the latter with a way to prevent blindness. Not only that, this new pair of eyes has even changed, and it has a unique pupil technique. And this method is limited, that is, it must be carried out between the clans. The more blood is connected, the higher the success rate. Advertisement: but the question is whether everyone in the Uchiha clan can gain new strength through this method. This is the proof in the history of making many sacrifices. This is another secret I want to tell you. Later, Madara used this power to rule various ninja families one after another, and later joined forces with the Senju family, which is considered to be the strongest in the ninja world, to establish a new organization. That organization was later Konoha Shinobi Village. Later, Madara and first Hokage, the leader of the Senju clan, opposed because of their different political views. Although he failed in the battle for sovereignty, he and his pupils still remain in this world. For a new purpose, he established an organization called Shao. He planned the attack on Konoha Shinobi Village by the Nine-Tails monster 16 years ago. But that plan was blocked by fourth Hokage. In other words, the current Madara is a loser. It is not him who can stand at the true peak of the Uchiha clan, Zhao Li's, but me who can surpass him and is gradually approaching the peak. Now, I can finally get the power to surpass him. Sasuke, to me, you are my brand new light. When Itachi said these words, his face finally no longer calm, but he looked a little crazy and a little clean. Its purpose is self-evident. It was to make Sasuke believe everything he said so that he could accept his eyes without burden. However, things that Itachi could never think of, everything he explained was the result of the Black Zetsu K working behind the scenes. Chapter 543 Fall in love and kill each other, all laughing and remembering that the world is too fake. At this moment, its eyes have turned into Mangekyo. Sasuke, you are my spare eye. The Uchiha clan was originally a power gained for Mangekyo Sharingan, to kill friends, and even to kill their own parents and brothers in order to gain eternal pupil power. When you were born into this race, you were already involved in the Uzumaki of this power struggle. This is the true face of the Uchiha clan. Seeing the Itachi walking step by step towards him, Sasuke couldn't help but step back. Obviously, he has not yet woken up from this secret. Come on, brother, I want to kill you, free me from the fate of this clan, and let me get the real 750 changes. I broke the limit, let the pupil power be further sublimated. We are each other's spare eyes, this is the brotherhood of the Uchiha clan. Hearing this, Sasuke suddenly calmed down. He closed his eyes, and then took off the black robe on his body. At the beginning, Shiryu gave Sasuke a suggestion that he could try to understand what happened in the past before he fights Itachi life and death. And now, Itachi had just personally told him the truth about the destruction of the Uchiha clan 16 years ago. Therefore, he made his final determination, the determination to kill Itachi. Advertisement: as for Shiryu himself, CGDD, he has already left Konoha at this moment. However, he did not rush to the secret base of the Uchiha clan in the first place. Instead, I went to a hotel outside Rain Shinobi Village, because there was another person waiting for him to comfort him. Next second, as Sasuke's eyes suddenly opened, a word was slowly spit out from his mouth. Finally, I'm here. Hearing this, Itachi said, maybe you can see how I am dead, but you still can't defeat me who has Mangekyo Sharingan. Your determination can only be a phantom because you don't have Mangekyo Sharingan. Don't worry, my hatred will turn this phantom into reality. And you have to face reality as death. Sasuke has such confidence, in addition to his affirmation of his own strength, that is, Mangekyo Sharingan. That's why Sasuke didn't refute when Itachi said that he couldn't beat him without Mangekyo. Because it is so, after awakening this pupil technique, he felt its power firsthand. But, one thing he wants to confirm now is how far he is from Itachi without using Mangekyo Sharingan. In other words, he can use it as a hole card, advertisement. When necessary, give Itachi a surprise and complete the final kill. Next second, Sasuke didn't have any unnecessary nonsense, and with a big wave of his hand, countless shurikens shot at Itachi. Shoo, shoo, shoo. There is a space talisman tied to his arm, and a lot of shurikens are hidden inside. Seeing this, Itachi was also unwilling to show weakness and threw a large number of shurikens. This scene is very much like when Itachi was training Sasuke when he was a child. Keng, 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 ding, ding, ding. At the moment they finished using their shurikens, the two simultaneously took out Wind Demon shurikens. At this time, both the eyes and the movements are quite consistent. And when they threw Wind Demon shuriken, the bodies of the two suddenly disappeared in place. At the moment when the Wind Demon shuriken hit everything, the kunai in the hands of the two also made a clanging sound. When the two were in a stalemate, another Itachi suddenly appeared behind Itachi. Obviously, that was the clone he had left before he rushed over, and even Sasuke, Sharingan, had no insight. This shows how fast his Jia-yin speed is. Chapter 544 Tsukuyomi. Watching, the six-pointed star finally appears. Seeing Itachi's clone attack, the curse of heaven on Sasuke's neck suddenly activated. Immediately afterwards, some black lines appeared on Sasuke's face, and then a big wing hand suddenly appeared. Boom! The attack of Itachi clone was directly resisted by the big winged hand, and Sasuke also took the opportunity to really distance himself from Itachi. Clatter, after landing, Sasuke did not hesitate, and directly took out another Wind Demon shuriken from the space talisman. What, without any extra action, he threw it directly. Seeing this, there was no resistance between the ferrets in their hands. Keng, however, this moment when Kuwu was blocking Wind Demon shuriken, was deeply cut apart. If this situation is placed under normal circumstances, it is impossible to happen, but at this moment there are variables. In response, Itachi also exclaimed, "You give Chidori." Itachi hadn't finished speaking yet, that Wind Demon shuriken directly penetrated his body deeply. Quack, quack, quack. With the sound of shouts, the pierced ferret directly turned into countless crows and flew away. Undoubtedly, this is a clone of Itachi. I have to say that Itachi has quite rich combat experience. Without knowing what purpose the enemy had, he didn't let the main body take the move, but instead tried to test it. And the Wind Demon shuriken that Sasuke threw out was able to cut the kunai in the hands of Itachi clone because he incorporated Chidori into the shuriken. When Sasuke's attention was drawn to these crows, Itachi tweeted to use Mangekyo Sharingan's ability on time. In just an instant, Itachi had already arrived in front of Sasuke. From this it can be seen that the attainments of Itachi's shimmering technique are also quite high. Without any suspense, a punch hit Sasuke's lower abdomen directly. Advertisement bump. Sasuke's body was like a cannonball, shooting out, directly hitting the wall behind. Boom. As a loud noise spread, the wall behind Sasuke had cracks visible to the naked eye, which looked like a huge spider web. Ming. There was a muffled noise from his throat, and blood spilled from the corner of his mouth. However, not waiting for Sasuke to react, Itachi's figure came again, digging his left hand that he wanted to droop directly on the wall. Boom. Immediately after he stepped on it, he fixed Sasuke's body, and then punched again. Bump. Sasuke couldn't help it anymore, and a mouthful of blood was suddenly spit out from his mouth. Itachi looked at Sasuke, whose breath was slightly narrowed before him, and murmured softly, "Sasuke, forgive me." During the words, his right hand was also slowly raised, just like the previous confrontation between them. Two fingers moved towards Sasuke's eyes. Combining everything Itachi had just explained, his move was undoubtedly to take Sasuke's eyes away. But in fact, this is not Itachi's inner thoughts at all. If Sasuke is not dazzled by hatred, then he should have paid attention to the loopholes in the story of Zhang Itachi just now. The birth of the so-called eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, it is the person who needs to be mined is also Mangekyo Sharingan. But in Itachi's cognition, Sasuke has not yet awakened. But perhaps it is precisely because Sasuke now has awakened Mangekyo Sharingan with the help of Shiyu. Therefore, he subconsciously ignored this point. Now you see it, this is the world I face. I want eternal light. Without any accident, Sasuke, who had lost his combat effectiveness, was now completely fish on the cutting board of Itachi, letting him kill. For flowers. Advertisement, wow ah. With an extremely painful scream, Sasuke's left eye was snapped by Itachi. Drops of scarlet blood continuously flowed from the corner of his eyes, swept across his face, and fell on the ground. After closing one of Sasuke's eyes, Itachi's voice also rang again. Didn't I say, you without Mangekyo, How could it be better than me who has this kind of eyes? I want to take the other eye too. When the voice fell, Itachi's big hand raised again and grabbed Sasuke's other eye. Point 0. Have you hit, Tsukuyomi? Sasuke originally wanted to take this opportunity to take a breather, but now he doesn't have much fight at all. Thank you for reading this story at fictionzone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. But, the big wings suddenly protruded, and Itachi temporarily retreated a short distance selectively in order to avoid the sudden blow. Needless to say, Sasuke used Mangekyo Sharingan. And just in this critical moment, anomalies suddenly occurred. Ju, who was hiding in the dark, looked at the scene in front of him, but it was different. The two people he saw were standing opposite each other. At the same time, in the next instant, he was directly locked in the neck by Itachi. However, with his knowledge of Itachi, he clearly knew what had happened. It seems that this battle will soon be won. I saw that Sharingan, which was originally a 3-hooked jade, has now become a 6-pointed star pattern. Oh, in the illusion of Tsukuyomi, the black lines on Sasuke's body became more and more flaming. Then he took out a container and took this opportunity to put the Sharingan button into it. No accident, Itachi stretched out his big hand again, and went to Sasuke's right eye again. Chapter 545 Fantasy and Reality. Mangekyo's Duel. Beyond the illusion. At this time, White Zetsu and Black Zetsu were talking about the battle. Unexpectedly, the winner will be decided so quickly. It was Itachi who won. Hearing what White Zetsu said, the other half of Black Zetsu said, why? Obviously, Sasuke hit Tsukuyomi. Sasuke can't move now, so Itachi can clean up unscrupulously next. However, the last two words of White Zetsu, he's gone, have not yet come out, and the battle situation has suddenly changed. I saw Itachi clutching his left eye of 750, with a slightly painful expression on his face. Of course, he was not injured by Sasuke, but the root cause of the overuse of Mangekyo. Thanks to the help of Mangekyo Sharingan, by the commander of Fantasyland, Tsukuyomi of Itachi was broken. Same as Mangekyo Sharingan, Itachi's illusion will naturally not affect the current Sasuke. Taste. As the illusion shattered, both of them returned to reality. At this time, the two people still maintained a state of opposition, and a lingering fear flashed in Sasuke's heart. At this moment, he had to admit that Itachi's illusion skills were superior to him. Originally, he thought that after 2 years of hard work, Sharingan had been tempered to a certain level, and he should not be easily hit. Advertisement, but the result was beyond his expectation. Itachi can be hailed as one of the most outstanding geniuses of the Uchiha family in the past century, and it is not groundless. If he hadn't used the Mangekyo Bloodwheel Eye at a critical moment, I'm afraid he would still be immersed in Tsukuyomi of Itachi at this moment. He was able to find out that he had been in illusion, but it was also due to Shiyu. When he used Heaven's Curse Seal in the illusion just now, he noticed something strange through the flow of natural energy around him. Because of this, he judged that he had been recruited. Tokuyomi told him that Itachi possesses a powerful illusion, Tsukuyomi, so he guessed it. And if you want to fight Mangekyo Sharingan, you can only use the equivalent pupil power. After all, it's still used. When the opposite Itachi heard this, he was still in shock. He never thought that Sasuke would awaken Mangekyo Sharingan, which was completely unexpected. Otherwise, he would never say you can't defeat me who has Mangekyo Sharingan. At this time, besides Itachi was shocked, there was another person present. That is the observance of hiding in the dark. Before he came to this battlefield, Obito once said something that made him very puzzled. I thought there was no suspense in this battle, but now it looks like it will be a peak duel. In Ju's cognition, Itachi is definitely stronger than Sasuke. But he didn't understand why Obito would say such a thing, and when he asked Obito the reason, the latter said, "Anyway, you are going to watch this battle, then you will naturally understand." Advertisement. At this moment, they finally knew the reason. Unexpectedly, Sasuke would also awaken this kind of eyes. White Zetsu was only quite surprised at this, but a strange color flashed in Black Zetsu's eyes. He thinks he is in control of everything secretly, but now it seems that there is a slight change. It's like Sasuke's awakening, Mangekyo. When White Zetsu and Black Zetsu were thinking about each other, a light flashed in Itachi's eyes. It turns out that you are the so-called surprise. Sure enough. In Itachi's mouth, you are not referring to Sasuke who is fighting with him, but to Toki whom I saw at the Akatsuki organization stronghold a few days ago. After a moment of silence, Itachi finally spoke. Sasuke, you really gave me a big surprise. HMPH, there are more surprises waiting for you. Sasuke snorted coldly, and then said, I said earlier, no matter how I use those eyes, 3.3 my hatred will become reality. Oh, let the phantom become reality. I will return this sentence to you as it is. Even if you have the same eyes as mine, there is still an irreparable gap in the strength between you and me. Next, I will let you recognize reality. Just now in Tsukuyomi, you have already made you feel the pain of your eyes being cut out, and now I will turn this phantom into reality. Chapter 546 Tsukuyomi Amaterasu. Great Fireball Technique. Hearing Itachi's cruel words, White Zetsu secretly said, Itachi seems to have changed. It seems that he is serious. Maybe you can see using Amaterasu, Black Zetsu said. Amaterasu, are you sure? Yes. Black Zetsu responded, and then said, when Sasuke cracked Itachi's Tsukuyomi, it became meaningless for the two parties to compete with illusion. In other words, next they will directly compete with ninjutsu. If the Mangekyo with the left eye has the strongest illusion, then the Mangekyo with the right eye has the strongest physical attack ability. It is said that Amaterasu 26 will never go out before burning what can be seen by the eyes to ashes. It is known as the black flame that will never go out. Hearing what Black Zetsu said, White Zetsu also looked excited. It's really exciting. It seems that it was right to come here to watch this battle. Next second, I saw Itachi did not evade Sasuke's Mangekyo Sharingan and began to seal directly under his nose. Upon seeing this, Sasuke once again took out a Wind Demon Shuriken from the Space Talisman. Is Itachi going to use Amaterasu? Sasuke's movements are so fast, I don't want Itachi Kyoin at all. As the voices of Black Zetsu and White Zetsu fell, the Wind Demon Shuriken that Sasuke threw out already flew in front of Itachi. Advertisement next second. Wind Demon Shuriken suddenly split into two and its power surged. Undoubtedly, this advanced version of Wind Demon Shuriken, Shadow Wind Demon Shuriken. At this critical moment, Itachi gave up Ji and pedal. With the force of his right foot, he directly made his volley rotate 360 degrees, and he escaped the blow dangerously and dangerously. Then, a strange scene appeared. I saw the two Wind Demon Shuriken that had originally flown backwards, but at this moment they suddenly changed their direction and attacked it again. Upon seeing this, Itachi found the clue all at once. Shuriken with a mechanism. However, facing such an attack, Itachi could easily dodge it, but this time he was injured. Even the vision he looked at was a bit blurred, which was obviously caused by his illness. Of course, the previous use of Tsukuyomi also adds a certain burden. Upon seeing this, Black Zetsu said, "It's strange, Itachi can't avoid that kind of attack." Hey, when Sasuke broke free from Tsukuyomi, he was the master in this battle. At this moment, Itachi's actions have also become slow. Maybe Sasuke will win this battle. No, it's hard to tell. Black Zetsu did not agree with White Zetsu's point of view. Advertisement at this time, Sasuke looked at Itachi on the opposite side and sneered. I just used Tsukuyomi to have a backlash, deserve it. In this regard, Sasuke did not intend to give Itachi a chance to breathe. At the same time as it attacked, there was also a continuous loud drink from his mouth. Seeing this scene, Sasuke can only give up this absolute offensive opportunity and turn offense to defense. However, this one had already avoided it, and Itachi directly turned from defense to offense, and quickly sealed the seal in the air. No accident, I also used a trick open black lens bracket great fireball technique close black lens bracket. As a blast spread, everything below was flooded by flames, making people unable to see the reality of it for a while. Even if it can't be compared with Madara, it is a top-notch existence among the Uchiha clan. Sasuke also has Mangekyo Sharingan, so naturally he knows that the ability to use his eyes has a great load on his eyes. Thank you for reading this story at fictionzone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. After Sasuke exhaled a big flame, Itachi could only choose to avoid the sharp edge temporarily because of the pain in his body. The roles of the two changed at this moment. Drink. Boom. Fire style great fireball technique. This shows that Itachi's fire style attainments are quite high. With a kick, he jumped directly into the air. Sasuke seemed to have expected this scene a long time ago, and directly covered his left 753 hand with a layer of thunder and lightning. Chapter 547 Fire Style Duel. Amaterasu is here. On the battlefield. When the flames and smoke slowly dissipated, White Zetsu, half of his body buried in the soil, said in a panic. It's so risky, I almost got involved. As his voice fell, the remaining smoke and dust in the field also completely dissipated, and there was a big hand in the place where the flames had previously flooded. If you want to go, it is a big hand like a wing. As the big winged hand slowly moved away, a familiar sound and shadow slowly appeared in the vision of Itachi Hiju. No surprise, it was Sasuke. At this time, Sasuke stared at the Itachi standing on the building, gritted his teeth and uttered two words. Damn it. You know, the previous absolute severe damage is the best chance to kill Itachi. However, the opponent's combat experience is too rich, and he has come up with a countermeasure between the electric light and flint. A subtle move from defense to offense directly resolved the crisis. However, at the moment when the field of vision became clear, Sasuke and Itachi seemed to want to go together, and quickly sealed their hands. The next second, the two used the same ninjutsu again. Fire-style great fireball technique. As the two flames spit out from their mouths, they suddenly collided in the eyes of these two spectators. Boom. Advertisement at that moment, flames burst in all directions, and waves of heat swept towards the surroundings frantically. At the place where the red flames are intertwined, its color starts to appear white indefinitely, and the powerful flame light continuously diffuses from it to the surroundings, so that what you can observe in the dark is definitely not helpless. The two flames are eroding each other, and both want to swallow each other. In this continuous stalemate, Itachi was actually at a disadvantage. This is not because his strength is not as good as Sasuke, nor is his fire-style attainment as good as Sasuke, nor is it that his chakra is not as powerful as the former. It's because of his body. Seeing this scene, White Zetsu couldn't help but sigh with emotion. Sasuke suppressed Itachi, this battle really is. However, before White Zetsu had finished speaking, Itachi's tightly closed right eye suddenly had a bloodline flowing out. The corners of the eyes are bleeding, so eye-catching. Open black lens bracket Amaterasu close black lens bracket. As the two words sounded in Itachi's heart, his right eye suddenly opened. Next second, the flames controlled by Itachi began to be covered with a layer of terrifying black inflammation, which was dyed black abruptly. Immediately afterwards, the flame controlled by Sasuke was swallowed by Itachi's black inflammation in an instant, and even a little flame did not remain. After doing all this, the burning black flame was willing to disperse. Upon seeing this, white Zetsu and black Zetsu who were peeping secretly began to be surprised again. Advertisement, it's so powerful that it swallowed another flame. In the end, his big wings were hid by Amaterasu. Moreover, he has a corresponding method of restraint. For Amaterasu, this ninjutsu, Sasuke can be said to know quite well, because he can also. Even if, Zhao Li Hao, Sasuke's speed is already fast, it is already difficult to leave Mangekyo Sharingan's lock. Word. Can only choose to avoid the edge temporarily, not to let Itachi lock himself. When he was surrounded by black flames, he didn't panic too much. So, raging. The rumors are true. As Sasuke continued to dodge, a shocking black flame was left on its dodge trajectory. Thank you for reading this story at fictionzone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. After dissolving Sasuke's great fireball technique, Itachi didn't give Sasuke a gasp, and performed Amaterasu again. It appeared completely out of thin air, as if the point of view where the eyes were focused was directly lit. It was a terrible trick. Hesitating, Amaterasu's special attack method, so when locked, Sasuke has no way to use Amaterasu to counterattack. This Amaterasu black flame will not disappear until the locked target is burned out. Even if it is the same flame, it will not be burned by mistake. Two of his Mangekyo Sharingan, one of which has the ability to flame control, which is specifically used to control the form of Amaterasu. As his right eye continued to bleed, black flames appeared on the battlefield again. Chapter 548 Flame Control, Orochimaru's unique secret technique. After being engulfed by Amaterasu black flames, Sasuke had already thought of a strategy. I saw his body fall down, and then his whole body was quickly covered by black inflammation. But this was only seen by Kakuzu on Itachi's side. If you change the angle from Sasuke's side, you can clearly see that these black flames are actually only slightly attached to him. Even real physical contact is useless. This is the ability of flame control, which can control all forms of Amaterasu. For this, Itachi is obviously impossible to know. Seeing Sasuke fall, Itachi recalled Heian immediately. Although he cannot control the changes in Amaterasu's form, it is still possible to make it disappear. Itachi does not know the power of Sasuke's eyes. If he does not recall Amaterasu, Sasuke will be burned to ashes. Of course, he did this so it wouldn't make Sasuke suspicious. Because if Sasuke turned into ashes, he would not be able to take Mangekyo Sharingan from 753. Sure enough, Itachi won. He stopped Amaterasu. He should be planning to take Sasuke's eyes away. As the words of white Zetsu and black Zetsu fell, Itachi also took a heavy step towards Sasuke, who had fainted. However, just when Itachi knelt down and wanted to take Sasuke's eyes, Sasuke's body suddenly disappeared with a puff sound. And when Sasuke's clone disappeared, there was still a hole in the ground. There is no doubt that Sasuke's real body has slipped away from here. It's just that the people who don't understand are, in that situation, Sasuke didn't have the opportunity to use clone technique. And, advertisement once hit by Amaterasu, even this technique is of no avail. At this moment, whether it was Itachi or the black-white Zetsu who was peeping secretly, the three of them couldn't think of it for a while. However, at this time, because of the crazy and continuous use of Amaterasu, just now, the current body is extremely weak. He knelt on the ground directly with his right hand holding his right eye, with great pain on his face. At the same time, Sasuke, who was under the stone slab, perceives this, and without any nonsense, directly chooses to attack. Open black lens bracket fire style how long fire technique close black lens bracket. With a low drink spit out from Sasuke's mouth, the stone slab under Itachi's feet burst instantly. Immediately afterwards, a few huge dragon heads rushed out from below, straight into the sky. Boom. 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 If it wasn't for Itachi to perceive it in advance to avoid it, I'm afraid it is either seriously injured or dead. Although Itachi dodged fairly in time, it was a bit unexpected because of Sasuke's attack. Therefore, Itachi did not completely avoid it. His right hand was still hit by the flame. Boom. CGDD. With a loud noise, the floor in front of Itachi collapsed instantly, and then a huge pothole appeared. As for Sasuke, looking up at him from below, no nonsense, Sasuke jumped directly from below. Advertisement clatter. Looking at Itachi, whose right hand was injured and whose aura was extremely weak, he sneered. Do you think it was Orochimaru's trick? It seems that the Amaterasu just now has caused a lot of load on you. Now you are probably at the end of the battle, right? You mean, body replacement technique, White Zetsu said. When they thought of this, the two fell into confusion again. Thank you for reading this story at fictionzone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Despite what Sasuke said, his condition is not much better. I am also very puzzled. They can be sure that it was Sasuke's ontology that Amaterasu had just been included. There is no doubt about this. Seeing this scene, Ju in the distance started to mumble again. Just now, in order to control Amaterasu, he could not cause damage to himself, and he continued to use flame control, and the consumption was naturally not small. And Sasuke. That's why we can use this kind of body replacement technique which is almost heaven-defying. Well, but what I am curious about is how Sasuke avoided Amaterasu burning, Black Zetsu said. You think Orochimaru will be so kind to teach this trick to a container that he needs to take away? Besides, as far as I know, it seems that Orochimaru can only perform that trick by himself. It doesn't seem to have been transformed. Except for this trick, I really can't think of how Sasuke just avoided Amaterasu erosion. White Zetsu knew that Orochimaru's body was specially modified and possessed some characteristics of a snake. Both of them can't stand up anymore, it should be almost the consumption of chakra. Chapter 549 The Name of Genius, worthy of the name. Seeing Itachi looked a little confused, Sasuke actually began to clarify his confusion. You should be curious why I can escape from your Amaterasu. Sasuke's idea is very simple. With his current chakra, he can only release a powerful ninjutsu at most. He didn't think about fire style or anything for the time being, because this ninjutsu was not strong enough in his opinion, and it was estimated that it could not take the life of Itachi. As for Amaterasu, it doesn't make sense, because Itachi can also, that's why he didn't use Amaterasu, just now. Therefore, he can only use that trick now. A move his current master's strongest attack means, for this move, he has arranged for a long time. Even explaining to Itachi at this moment is for this reason. He was delaying time, because the ninjutsu he performed next required certain conditions. However, Itachi's answer was to make Sasuke look startled. If I'm right, the ability of one of your Mangekyo Sharingan is also Amaterasu. As soon as Itachi said this, not only Sasuke was taken aback, but even the person in the dark was shocked. Next second, their eyes lit up and they seemed to think of something. Advertisement. I think Itachi's guess makes some sense. If Sasuke really knows Amaterasu, then he can indeed ignore those black flames. So the question is coming. Black flame can only be released and extinguished. If Sasuke uses this ability, why does the black flame on his body still exist? Just when they were puzzled, Itachi spoke again. I've been curious before, you obviously awakened, Mangekyo, but why don't you use it all the time? Until I saw the clone just now, I finally figured it out. Because your master has the same abilities as mine, you know that even if you use it, it won't help you. In the end, it's just goodbye to consumed chakra. As for why you can escape Amaterasu without extinguishing it, I think that is another ability. When Itachi said these words, Sasuke was shocked. He knows Itachi is very smart, but now it seems that he still underestimates his brother. At this moment, he suddenly realized a little. Why Itachi was allowed to graduate from ninja school when he was 7 years old and started Sharingan when he was 8 years old. He became Chunin at the age of 10, and he became Konoha's first and only man to take the Chunin exam and pass. For flowers. At the age of 11, he joined Anbu, and has the ability to compete with Jonin. Advertisement became Anbu, division director at the age of 13. From his amazing past, you can know how good Itachi is. This, Sasuke has to admit, in his opinion, if he hadn't had Shiyu's guidance, it is estimated that he would not have the strength to contend with the latter at all. However, Sasuke absolutely did not expect that even now he is not qualified to compete with Itachi at his peak. The reason why it is now 50-50 is completely because of Itachi's disease. Sasuke didn't know this yet. Seeing in secret, Sasuke seemed to have acquiesced to Itachi's words, and finally felt in his heart. At the same time, I have to admire Itachi's brain, and even with a clone, Sasuke's Mangekyo ability can be fully understood. They really admire such a character. Itachi, you are indeed very smart. But what about it, you still have to lose in this battle. Big. Chapter 550 Lightning Style Kirin, Heaven and Earth Day. This battle. You still have to lose after all. Itachi, face reality, I will end your life with this last technique. Hearing what Sasuke said, Itachi stared at Sasuke and said slowly. Don't be brave. Sharingan is used to view chakra, and your chakra has been exhausted a long time ago. Sasuke didn't deny Itachi's words, but said indifferently. You were right, the fire style just now exhausted my last chakra. 757. But this technique doesn't need any chakra anymore, it only needs me to influence it, and it is the same as Amaterasu, it is absolutely impossible to evade. Now, I will reproduce the way you died as you said. Hearing Sasuke's words, the black-white Zetsu who was peeping secretly looked puzzled. Same as Amaterasu? A technique that is absolutely unavoidable? What kind of technique is that? As black-white Zetsu's voice fell, Sasuke raised his head long. The next moment, there was a sudden thunder in the sky, attracting the eyes of everyone present. Boom. Advertisement. As Itachi and White Zetsu raised their heads, the sky was already covered with dark clouds, and the thunder was rolling and roaring. Boom. Boom. Seeing this scene, Itachi and Zetsu finally understood something. Itachi fell silent, and White Zetsu whispered, I see, he just used fire style, just for this purpose. What do you mean? Black Zetsu said. Unsurprisingly, his fire style, real purpose just now was not Itachi, but to prepare for what he called ninjutsu. Don't go around with me, just speak directly. He deliberately shot, fire style, into the sky, causing the atmosphere to suddenly warm up, thereby creating an updraft. He created these mists and clouds just for the next thunder. Hearing what White Zetsu said, Black Zetsu suddenly understood something. He does not rely on his own chakra, but on the huge energy in the atmosphere to perform lightning-style ninjutsu. What kind of powerful ninjutsu? Said to be comparable to Amaterasu. In short, this technique should be different from what I tried with chakra nature transformation. How strong is it? This makes me look forward to it. Hearing this, Black Zetsu nodded, and then said, "It turns out that you previously printed Itachi deliberately and let it release Amaterasu smoothly. The purpose is to generate enough heat. No surprise. Advertisement. If this is the case, then there is really no way to evade." Without any accident, he fell directly towards Itachi. Why? Obviously, this technique is larger, more powerful, and faster than the ordinary Lei Tong. 3.3 In the next second, his arms suddenly waved under the gaze of Itachi and White Zetsu. Then amidst the thunderous clouds, a unicorn cast by thunder suddenly emerged from it. Listen well, the name of the technique that killed you is Kirin. As Sasuke's voice fell, his left arm began to dance, and a faint lightning flashed in his palm, like a silver snake. During the black and white conversation, Sasuke pointed to the sky with his left finger, and began to pull the thunder and lightning from the sky. There was thunder in the sky, and a sky-shaking beast roar came from the dark clouds, and thunder continued to abuse it. Who knows, there will be an answer later anyway. Thank you for reading this story at fictionzone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. But, can Sasuke really tame thunder and lightning? Because his knowledge of nature transformation of the thunder attribute is quite high, he has the ability to influence it. Roar. It's very simple, because the speed of thunder falling is 1,000th of a second, which is several times faster than the speed of sound. Boom. At this moment, the sky is full of thunder, and this world is like daytime. Chapter 551 Imprint of Heaven's Curse. Susanoo. Boom. The unicorn transformed by thunder penetrated through the clouds and descended to the earth, like a giant pillar of the sky. Boom. Boom. The loud noises pierced through the world, making the whole earth seem to tremble, showing its power. Even Ju, who was peeping in the distance, had to find a shelter to avoid the gravel dust that swept away. But this is not the point. The point: Itachi is completely overwhelmed by this technique. At this time, where the smoke and dust billowed, people couldn't see what was in it. After a while, the dark clouds in the sky have disappeared, and the residual lightning in the billowing smoke is also gone. Because of this, the true face of the land 26 on that side was finally exposed to the air. However, at this time, there was a mess, with rubble all over it, and Itachi's body was also exposed in it, life and death unknown. But what was strange was that the slabs around Itachi were exploded into countless pieces, but the piece underneath him was intact, with no cracks at all. But this didn't seem to attract Sasuke Kazu's attention. Their attention at the moment was all on Itachi. Seeing this scene, White Zetsu murmured in the distance. "Itachi, are you dead?" At this time, Sasuke's eyes were fixed on Itachi, and his eyes changed from Mangekyo to ordinary eyes. Obviously, he just squeezed the last chakra in order to lead Kirin. At this moment, let alone maintaining Sharingan, he didn't even have the strength to stand upright. Advertisement: seeing the Itachi lying on an intact rock in the deep pit, Sasuke's body was also pulled down and knelt on one knee. Ended. Everything is over. However, just when Sasuke was so relieved, the sound of a voice made his scalp numb. Because the thing he worried most still happened. "This is how you want to recreate the way I died?" I saw the dead ferret lying motionless on the ground, but now it was propped up. Upon seeing this, Sasuke immediately raised the spirit of 12 points. He knew that the thing he worried most was probably happened. He originally thought that under the move of Kirin, even Itachi would be difficult to stop using that move, but now it seems that he still missed the ninjutsu granted by Mangekyo Sharingan. That's why Sasuke didn't have any nonsense, dragging his exhausted body into the curse seal state, forcibly. No way. Now that chakra in his body is all exhausted, if he wants to continue fighting with Itachi, he can only use this method. This shows a problem from the side, that is, Sasuke's chakra is less than Itachi. And at the moment when Sasuke cast the Heaven's Curse seal, Itachi's body also kept coming out of chakra. But not ordinary blue, but pure red. Moreover, this chakra is extremely large and rich. But this is not the key. The key is that this chakra is plastic at this time. It is something like a skeleton. Advertisement: undoubtedly, this is the awakened power of God Susanoo, Mangekyo Sharingan. At this time, Itachi directly performed the second stage. "If there is no such trick, I will be dead." When the voice fell, the red chakra around Itachi again stirred, and the original skeleton form, Susanoo, changed again, directly covering a thick layer of blue armor. Therefore, he must not allow any criticism. Needless to say, this is the third stage. After Itachi stood up straight, stared at Sasuke and spoke again. Thank you for reading this story at fictionzone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. This ninjutsu was also understood when he awakened Mangekyo Sharingan, but his master's level was obviously not as good as Itachi. Sasuke was extremely moved when he heard Itachi. White Zetsu doesn't know, but Black Zetsu knows it all. What's that stuff? After Itachi's body was covered by the red skulled chakra's body, White Zetsu in the distance was also extremely shocked. No way, he is still in disguise. He must be vigilant at all times, but White Zetsu can't find a clue. Obviously, he has no idea about the power of Susanoo. But he didn't tell, because this was not the first time he had figured 760 to understand and pretended to be confused. He planned it many times and didn't know it, but all failed. This time it was the most promising success. Before you were so swearing, either you underestimated this technique, or you haven't reached a higher stage of the master. Since you have awakened, Mangekyo Sharingan, you also know what this technique I am performing now is? Sasuke, you really got stronger. Chapter 552 Solve the Evil Seal. Yuki Orochi. Obviously, Sasuke really underestimated Susanoo. In other words, he is too confident about his lightning-style Kirin. After using Susanoo Phase 3, Itachi looked at Sasuke quietly and said slowly, "If you have any other means, just use it, otherwise you won't have any chance." Sasuke, who heard this, was both shocked and unwilling. Now his chakra has been exhausted. If he hadn't entered the cursed seal state, I am afraid he would not be able to do normal actions. But despite this, he is now at the end of the battle. Without the support of his own chakra in his body, he couldn't bear the power of the curse at all. At this moment, he seemed to have auditory hallucinations. "Let me help you. Do you need me, Sasuke? Aren't you going to take revenge on Itachi? Liberate my power, such a wish can." This voice is not someone else, it is Orochimaru, who has long been dead. If Shi-Yu knew, he would definitely be surprised. To know, he had already killed Orochimaru in Grass Country, not long ago, but now Sasuke's body has his voice. That's why. At this moment, Sasuke was also full of shocked expressions. He wanted to suppress this power to prevent him from erupting from his body. But what was helpless was that the current situation was already at the end of the crossbow, and this force was not suppressed at all. At this time, there was a cell in his body that was gradually expanding after contacting the cursed seal power. Advertisement needless to say, this is what Orochimaru left behind. Orochimaru's disposition is not comparable to ordinary people. Maybe he noticed something strange during Sasuke following him for more than 2 years. Obviously, this cell in Sasuke's body was left by Orochimaru, and ninjutsu was also sealed inside. Once his body dies, this cell can allow him to live out the second life. As long as Sasuke uses the spell of heaven, when the chakra is exhausted, the seal of evil resolving in this cell will be triggered. Because this cell is not suppressed by chakra or other powers, once it comes into contact with the power of the spell, it will slowly recover and continue to grow until it is completely resurrected. By this time Orochimaru had apparently recovered in Sasuke's body. At this time, Sasuke was also aware of this, which made him quite astonished. He never thought that Orochimaru would have left behind him, and he had already taken the opportunity to resurrect. At this moment, Sasuke could no longer stop it, or he had no power to stop it. I saw that he was suppressed in great pain, with one hand firmly on the curse of heaven on his neck. Damn it. Ming. Ah! Sasuke, who was in pain, had already supported the ground with both hands, and it was obvious that he could no longer suppress it at all. Immediately afterwards, the skin at the curse mark on his neck began to squirm, and then lumps of things that looked like snakeheads appeared. With this scream of Sasuke, this group of snake-like cells that emerged from his body has been completely formed. Next second. Advertisement: the 8 huge snake heads were exposed to the air, white phosphorus all over the body, silver luminous, like a god or demon coming to the world, and it formed a sharp contrast with the godlike Susanoo of Itachi. But it is a pity that his will is depressed at this time, or it has been replaced by Orochimaru, and he has no chance to see it. This feeling is Orochimaru's open black lens bracket Bachi technique close black lens bracket. The big snake of 8 chi roared its huge mouth, piercing through the world, making the air in this world seem to be a little bit cold. Now Sasuke is exhausted and has lost the power to suppress, so that the power of Orochimaru hiding in his body has been awakened. In addition to Itachi, who saw the clues, the black-white Zetsu who had been in contact with Orochimaru naturally understood the truth. Thank you for reading this story at fictionzone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Moreover, he also concluded the guess in his mind based on this. Seeing this scene, Itachi's expression was also surprised. The guy Orochimaru was originally a certain reincarnation method of the master, and Sasuke was the container he chose. It is reasonable to keep this method. Is it the disgusting guy Orochimaru? While Black Zetsu and White Zetsu were talking, Itachi had already controlled Susanoo and slowly walked towards the Yachi Orochi. Roar. He had naturally heard the news of Orochimaru's fall, but now the latter has appeared again. Can this not shock him? A battle between gods and monsters begins. We only know that he was killed by Sasuke, but how exactly he died is not clear. Now it seems that Orochimaru should leave some means on the ladder before he died. Isn't he dead? Why did he reappear? Wang Zhao's. If Sasuke saw it, he would be surprised, because these 8-headed snakes were the Yaki Orochi that appeared during Orochimaru's battle with Toki. He saw it with his own eyes and was naturally familiar with it. Chapter 553 Sword and Gourd. Orochimaru reappears. Boom. 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 At this moment, Itachi's footsteps seem to be light, but it is extremely heavy in the ears of others. Su. Yuki Orochi was not idle either, dragging his huge body and swimming quickly towards Itachi. Upon seeing this, Itachi's eyes remained firm. Seeing his thoughts moved, the armor-like Susanoo lifted his right hand, and in it, a large sword made by chakra appeared in his hand. Moreover, there is a gourd on his wrist, but since the Susanoo, at this time is only the third stage, these two things are not materialize. Next second, one of the heads of the Yachi Orochi opened its blood basin and opened its mouth, and it bite towards the Itachi. 760 in response, Susanoo waved his arm, call out. With the sound of a breaking wind, scarlet blood was drunk in the air. But this is not the point. The point is that the head of the huge snake biting towards the ferret was cut off directly under the sword. Boom. But this did not stop the Yachi Orochi's offensive, and saw it control the three snake heads to attack it again. Advertisement however, the result remains unchanged. I saw Itachi controlled the huge chakra arm and swung another sword, which was stronger and faster than the first sword. Taste. 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 As 3, CGDD, faint voices came out, the three snake heads were once again beheaded by a sword. Boom. 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 At this moment, rubble on the ground was splashing and smoke swept across. But the weird thing is that the Yachi Orochi had 4 heads cut off. He didn't fall into madness because of this, but went straight down. Immediately afterwards, one of the snake's heads opened his mouth, but didn't mean to attack. Seeing this scene, Itachi finally whispered, is it finally going to show up? Itachi had already guessed something the moment Yachi Orochi appeared. So, at this moment, his eyes were fixed on the open sheku, as if something would appear from there in the next second. It's not only Itachi, but also secretly, as predicted. Under their high gaze, sheku wriggled slightly, and a head suddenly appeared from his throat. At the moment of its appearance, it was accompanied by a long laugh. Ha 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 ha. Advertisement. This laughter repeatedly broke free of some shackles, showing its excitement and excitement. No wonder he didn't panic when he died at the hands of Tokiba. There was such an emotion except that he was not afraid of death. I am afraid that he might also expect that he might be resurrected in this way someday in the future. Because it needs to meet several conditions. Thank you for reading this story at fictionzone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. I have to say that Orochimaru is really a terrible person. Originally, Shiyu thought that his plan was seamless, but he didn't expect Orochimaru to understand something. Of course, this method of resurrection is much more difficult than combining Madara's transfer seal and Izanagi. That's why this means of resurrection. The first is to find a person who can adapt to the power of curse seal, and can smoothly transfer his master to the second state. Solution of evil seal. This method can be placed in advance to allow a person to be reborn after death. For this person, no one was unfamiliar with him, because he was Orochimaru who died at Toki's hands soon. Finally, it is to let the caster use the power of the curse seal in the state of total collapse. The second step is to transplant cells with the seal of the evil relief seal. Obviously, he was resurrected successfully at this time. Although he didn't understand the truth, he laid a backhand. At this moment, half of this person's body was revealed. Without one of the three, none of them can be realized. Obviously, Orochimaru is afraid that if he fails to swallow Sasuke, or if something happens in the middle, he will fall. Chapter 554. A sword with its own sealing technique. After Orochimaru appeared, his mouth opened straight. Ming-a. Immediately afterwards, a sword was spit out from his mouth. It was a pheasant sword. Seeing this scene, White Zetsu peeping from a distance subconsciously said, he is still disgusting as never before, really like a snake. As soon as White Zetsu's voice fell, Orochimaru at the mouth of Yachi Orochi was crazy in surprise. Finally waiting for this moment, ha ha ha, after he was obliterated by Shiyu, he had been looking forward to this moment. Obviously, he had already guessed about it. In his opinion, there is bound to be a battle between Sasuke and Itachi. After the chakra was exhausted, Sasuke definitely continued to use the power of the spell. This is indeed the case, everything is within his expectations. However, just after Orochimaru's voice fell, Itachi controlled the giant sword in Susanoo's hand to swing again. Taste. With a faint sound, Orochimaru's body was directly pierced by Itachi. After doing all this, advertisement, there was a smile at the corner of Itachi's mouth, as if he had fulfilled some wish, and he murmured to himself. Sasuke, what are you going to do next? And the face of Orochimaru, who was pierced through the body, didn't have the slightest astonishment on his face, and sneered with disdain. Itachi, you look down on me too much. Do you think this kind of attack can defeat me? In his opinion, his body has undergone special transformation. So long as he is not reduced to ashes in an instant, it is difficult to be killed. But the next second, Orochimaru's complexion changed suddenly. Because he found that his body was being absorbed by that sword, he was immediately astonished. As this sword, 10-fist sword, Itachi, you hide this sword secretly. No wonder I couldn't find it. It turned out to be an intangible spirit sword. Orochimaru of the words was full of horror and unwillingness. He didn't expect that he would be sealed off as soon as he was resurrected. 10-fist sword. It is a sealed sword with the nickname Sake Katato. This sword has its own sealing technique, and the person struck by this sword will be drawn into the world of drunken dreams and will be sealed in it forever. White Zetsu also murmured when he saw Orochimaru's body being put into the gourd paired with 10 punch swords. That's what Orochimaru has been looking for. Itachi really is amazing, but what exactly is that technique? Black Zetsu said. Advertisement. For flowers. Obviously, Black Zetsu is still loading garlic. Others don't know. Susanoo, how can they not know if you want to create Rinnegan for thousands of years? After Orochimaru was completely sealed, Sasuke's body was revealed again. But a little snake fell from it and took the opportunity to slip away. However, because the surroundings were all wrapped up by Amaterasu, it did not escape a disaster in the end, and was directly burned into nothingness. In this regard, Itachi's eyes were fixed on Sasuke. Sasuke, let's stop. Cough. After speaking, Itachi coughed twice again. It was obvious that his physical condition was quite bad. If you can hear Itachi, see Sasuke's current state again. Both White Zetsu and Black Zetsu believed that Itachi had won the battle. Because the current Sasuke not only can't even use Sharingan, but even Orochimaru's power of Curse Seal is also deprived. Da. Itachi walked towards Sasuke step by step, speaking slowly in the meantime. Sasuke, let me slowly get your eyes. Da. Chapter 555 Left hand Yata Mirror. Right hand 10-punch sword. Sasuke, let me slowly get your eyes. Itachi, whose voice fell, walked slowly towards Sasuke, who had a slight aura, but his footsteps stopped in the middle. Ahem. After a heavy cough, a mouthful of blood came out directly. Puff. Itachi was in a bad state at this time, and he couldn't stand his body, and he knelt down involuntarily. Seeing this scene, the peeping White Zetsu in the distance murmured. What's wrong with Itachi? It seems that the state is not 763-2 right. As predicted. At this time, the ferret was unable to support Susanoo third stage, and the whole body of the stomach fell off and fell to the second stage. Seeing this scene, Sasuke knew that the opportunity had come. There was no extra nonsense. He took a sigh of relief, took out a kunai with an explosive amulet from the space talisman, and then threw it at the Itachi who was in poor condition. Call out. In the next second, only a bang was heard, and then the world where Itachi was located exploded in time. Boom. Suddenly the smoke swept through, curled and transpired. After the smoke cleared, the scene in front of him made Sasuke's eyes startled. Not only did Itachi not fall in this explosion, but he didn't even get injured. At this moment, Sasuke's gaze was firmly locked on the shield that blocked Itachi. Advertisement. There is no doubt that it was this shield that blocked the previous explosion. Damn it. Sasuke gritted his teeth immediately and directly took out a scroll of space artifacts. Saw his big hand, countless explosive kunai, appeared all over him and then threw them away. Shoo, 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 bang, bang, monument. However, the result is generally the same. The countless explosions that Sasuke threw, kunai was completely blocked by the shield, and there was no trace left. This shows how powerful this shield is. Upon seeing this, Black Zetsu said again. This shield is too strong, right? What is it? After hearing the words, White Zetsu thought for a while, and then said. If I didn't guess wrong, that shield is also one of the spirit weapons. It's called Hyaji Jing. It is said that it is a shield that can ignore any physical attack, and it's quite a mess. The left hand, Yaji Jing, and the right hand, 10-fist sword, are invincible at all. At this moment, Sasuke is a thorough method. He shook his big hand heavily, holding the pheasant sword, making a leap, and then attacked it. There is no chakra in the body. The curse seal power is completely deprived, and he has no means at all. This is his last struggle, because such an attack is destined to be useless for possessing Susanoo. Advertisement. The only thing he can look forward to now is Itachi can't hold on to that moment. But the reality is cruel. Itachi has withstood it. With a sound of chan, the pheasant sword in Sasuke's hand did not break through Susanoo's defense. Laugh. As chakra shook slightly, Sasuke's mouth convulsed, and the pheasant sword in his hand dropped and spun in the air. But he himself flew upside down like a kite with a broken line. Without any accident, Sasuke, who was completely weak, made a close contact with the ground directly. Boom. Ning. At this moment, Sasuke gasped continuously and even coughed up blood. It was extremely difficult for the whole person to even stand up, and he was crumbling with his back leaning on a broken rock. At the same time, Itachi has gradually approached him 3.3 and has reached him. I saw that he stretched out his arm again, revealing the gesture of digging his eyes in the illusion before, and slowly said, my eyes. Hearing that, Sasuke's eyes stared like copper bells, and a look of horror appeared on that pale face. Because his body can no longer move at the moment, it is completely the fish on the chopping board, let it be slaughtered. At this moment, his heart is full of despair.